What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome back to another episode of the Low Life Motherfucking Chopper Podcast.
Get to the chopper!
What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome back to another spicy episode of the Low Life Motherfucking Chopper Podcast.
Thank you to the official hot sauce of the Low Life Chopper Podcast, Ass Blasters. That is wicked hot, actually. That's unfortunate. Have an ass kicking day. Not too hot.
Gotta get some of that sweet heat.
Yeah. Ooh. We are joined here with the real official sponsor of the Low Life Chopper Podcast, Jon-Luke of Stay Strong Co. Welcome to the show.
I like how you said that.
What's up, fellas?
What's up? Is that French? Jon-Luke?
Oh, it's not. Actually, I'm 100% Italian. I have a French first name, a Native American middle name, and 2 Italian last names. So, whole mix of shit.
Wow. You got a lot of fucking names, bro.
Yeah.
Of course you're Italian. You're from fucking Jersey.
That's it. Hey, yo.
So is your middle name Luke? Is it Jon-Luke?
No. My middle
Jon-Luke's
name's
your first.
Yeah, Jon-Luke's my first name. My middle name's Wilnay.
What is it?
Wilnay.
How do you spell that?
Wilny. It's a Native American
Never heard
middle
that.
name. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Fuck,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. I got
That's
quite a
crazy.
name.
I never knew that.
Yeah. It doesn't. My name doesn't fit on my license. I had to cut a couple letters off there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No shit. That's fucked up. They're just like, no, it's too long. Just
Yeah.
use like a smaller font, guys.
They just give you a bigger
right.
ID.
Yeah. I got the big picture.
You got the billfold wallet for his ID.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Well, it's good to have you back on, man. A lot of shit's happened since last time.
Yeah. No, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. It's looking forward to this.
Real quick round. Do we have any housekeeping shit?
Dude, my mouth's on fire. That was a bad idea. Whoo. No.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything.
I can't
We
even
have
think
nothing
straight,
coming
dude.
up.
I'm gonna have to take off my shirt.
Yeah, we have nothing. We have nothing coming up. Easy Times this past weekend. That was a blast. We'll do a recap of those guys coming up the next couple of weeks. With that, we're just gonna get right into the fucking episode.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, I'll let you rest for a minute. All right, John. So what's been going on since last time you were on, man? It seems like a lot.
Yeah, been busy. So last time I was just getting ready to leave for my trip. So I left in April, got back in June. Been revamping the company, just been back to work somehow, trying to figure that out. Ooh, that was a tough one going back to work after I was off for about 35 days. So
Yeah,
How the
dude,
hell
that was
did you
a
get
long
all that
fucking
time?
trip.
Yeah, how did you get all that time off work? Your boss wasn't just like, fuck you?
well, no, Uncle Sam said go for it.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so I had a lot of time saved up. We can roll time over. So between that and I
sick.
travel a lot, or was traveling a lot. So we bank a lot of we got like travel comp. So between the two, I just used all my time and, went for it. Took
That's
the
awesome.
leap.
So how long was it? It was over a month, right?
Yeah, it was 35 days. So it was from the 28th of April to June 1st. I got home.
Well, so tell us a little bit what prompted the trip? Like, what was the how long have you been planning it?
I almost have no planning into this trip. that was the thing. I kind of just had the idea of that. I've always wanted to take a cross country trip. Probably for the past, I would say, 2 or 3 years, I've just been wanting to get out there and do it. Take a solo trip. And EDR was this year. So that kind of was like, okay, EDR's this year, work. I hadn't really been traveling too much, which always kind of got in the way of, planning out a bigger trip. So this year was kind of slow at work. So it was the perfect storm. So I'm like, EDR, I got time. Perfect time to do it,
Yeah.
So,
So that was like the spirit of it was just to get out to EDR, and then you kind of planned a trip around that being the end point.
yeah, I mean, well, that was the beginning. So like EDR was in May, the first weekend in May, I think, right? And yeah, it was Cinco de Mayo. So that was like got to get to EDR. And then after that, just whatever happens. So
Yeah. Because you went way up north, right? You went up to Washington?
yeah. Actually, I went up to Washington. I met up with Dustin Asleep.
Sick.
What's up, man? Yeah. It was cool. He reached
Yeah.
out to me. Just, never met him before. Really haven't talked to him. He's like, if you're coming this way. And I'm like, kind of not, but I got some time. So yeah, whatever. I kept telling myself. Yeah. I just kept telling myself, I'm like, because I kept giving myself like, okay, you got to get here. But, at the end of the day, I'm on vacation. So I was like, fuck it, you're on vacation. Just, people want to reach out and they want to see you, meet you, whatever. I made time. So that was really cool.
Fuck yeah. On the way out, which way did you go? Because I know like people always either skirt the top of the country or the bottom of the country.
So I was a little weary of going too far north, just because I don't want to go too close to the Great Lakes because it was kind of early, even
It was
April.
still early.
Yeah. So I took more of like and I wanted to go south because I got a buddy in Nashville and just the southern routes a little bit.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Better.
Yeah.
But the southern route would have taken too long because I was trying to get to EDR and I was actually going to Colorado. So I took more of like a little bit lower of a northern route. So I went from New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, went to Missouri, Kansas, which, I was trying to get to Colorado in 3 days, and Kansas, well, the first 2 days I left, rain nonstop. So
dude, you hit a bunch of fucking rain.
Huh?
Yeah. I think it was it Ole, I think? It was one of the bigger motorcycle swap meets, everyone goes to in the country. It was in Pennsylvania, and they got rained out. And really wasn't. I was like, I wasn't even going to bring rain gear. I was like, fuck it. I'll probably be fine. Whatever. I'll get out there. Oh, terrible mistake. Last minute, I threw on rain gear on my bike, and thank God I did.
Yeah.
Because it fucking poured.
And I felt bad. I kept seeing your stories, you like wringing your gloves out and like trying to dry shit in the hotel. And I was like, fuck, man.
Yeah. The first 2 days, I put a lot of thought into like, is this what I should be doing right now? Is this what I'm doing? Like,
oh, I bet.
I really contemplated just like going back. I left super late on Thursday. I left at I was supposed to leave early. I wasn't done packing. I left at 10. I only got 250 miles into my trip into Pennsylvania, and I was just drenched. I didn't have my rain gear on. All my shit wasn't even if it was covered, it still got soaked. My bag wasn't as waterproof as it was supposed to be, and I'm just like, all right. And when you start realizing that when you only have I can't hop in the car and go get shit. I'm like, no, you're riding in the rain to go get more things to be dry.
Yeah.
I rode to Tractor Supply to get I don't even know, they're kitchen gloves almost, but birthing gloves. They were thick ass waterproof gloves, and that's what I wore the second day. Yeah, because I couldn't even grip my handlebars because they're everything. I put my gloves I was wearing 2 sets of gloves, and those were the outer ones. But it wound up once you get kind of comfortable with that. I was cruising. I was doing 75. Felt comfortable. It was raining and shitty, but you get comfortable with being shitty.
Right.
So it wasn't crazy winds and things like that.
Yeah. What's the thought process of when you're taking on a big trip like this and you get 100, 200 miles away from home, and now it starts setting in okay, this is it.
Yeah, no, it is. It's I feel you get to that point of no return, so you're just yeah, I'm going for it. Yeah, and I definitely overpacked, that for sure, but I wasn't sure what I'd be doing. I went in with it with the thought process I could be sleeping in the middle of nowhere by myself, or I could be in a hotel. I could be wherever. I wanted to be self-sufficient, totally. I didn't need anything from anybody. I wanted to have all the shit, which was come to find out, definitely not the worst choice, but you can definitely get away with a lot less.
Right.
Yeah. I would say as I was moving, I got past the rain, things started to kind of clear up, and it seemed okay, you seem like you're doing good. I got to Missouri, riding through Missouri, and I'm like, all right, whatever, get your groove on, you're moving. And started towards the tail end of Missouri going to Kansas. It started getting windy because it was getting a little later in the day. And I'm like, oh, okay. I got to Kansas and it was fucking windy. I didn't know it at the time, but there was like a 30 to 40 mile an hour wind gust. And it was like they have what's called like they put up a red flag, which is kind of like a shore warning thing. But it means like there's extreme winds, and there's nothing in Kansas. There's nowhere to go. Nothing
just
to
tornadoes.
do. Oh, dude. Yeah. And I'm just like, this is fucking rough. Like, I would say probably the most nervous I was on my trip was going through Kansas because I didn't know if I could get through Kansas. It took me another day. I rode for 15 hours to try to get through Kansas, taking every back road, trying to cut the wind every which way. I was getting a headwind mixed with like a side wind that just scooped my bike. And
like on the highway?
Yeah, and it was
so you had to get off, yeah.
Oh, I tried getting off. I tried going down every back road I could, and it took me 15 hours, and I still didn't get anywhere. Because I was like hell-bent on getting to Colorado. I was going to put in over 1,000-mile day on my third day just to get to Colorado, but I couldn't get more than a couple hundred miles just because that wind was like kicking my ass. My stomach was in my throat for a good portion of that,
So was that first leg, like getting to Colorado, that was just like beelining to there, not stopping for shit?
Yeah, pretty much. That was like my go-to point. So when I got to Colorado, I was meeting up with some people, and I was going to head the rest of EDR, head out with them. So I was like hell-bent on getting to Colorado. But yeah, that wind and just things you don't expect. Like I didn't expect, crazy winds and things like that. There's no flat places really by us. Like you have a couple cornfields that are, a few miles long and there's nothing, but you don't have miles upon miles of absolutely nothing.
Yeah, whole states.
Yeah. And it's crazy. And I ran into the Martian Machine guys, which are awesome. And I was like, dude, fuck Kansas. I'm sorry, guys. They're like, nah, it's cool. There's some good spots. I'm like, I'm sure. But
yeah, I'm sure. I didn't see any of them though.
Yeah. And like I was taking the highway too because I was trying to, make time. But yeah, it was definitely the first 3 days. I contemplated a lot of fucking fuck motorcycling, fuck doing this, like, But
did you have like a loose plan, like as you were going? Did you have like certain places you were going to stop along the way? Were you camping? Were you hitting motels, hotels, or were you just like wherever I end up for the day is where you'd figure it out?
Yeah, I didn't really have any sleeping arrangements planned out. I had more or less like kind of places of interest checked out. Things I wanted to hit. So like I was going to Colorado because I was meeting up with Charlie Weissel, traveling chopper, and I met him in Milwaukee at Mama Tried, which you guys should definitely go to this year. And when I was there,
where's this one at? Where's Mama Tried? Is that Milwaukee?
Milwaukee. Yeah. And I met him through a friend, and I was like, hey, I'm going out to, I'm trying to make it out to EDR this year. I'm like, would you be interested in, taking a trip? And he's like, yeah, I could be. Hit me up when it gets closer. So wound up kind of staying in touch with him. And I'm like, okay, hey, Charlie, it's coming up. You feel like going? He's like, yeah, come on out. So, super awesome guy. Crashed at his place on Thursday night. Or no, what was it? Oh, it was, Monday. I got my days all messed up already. But yeah, spent the night with him and one of his other friends, Jason, and started making our way towards EDR from Colorado.
Fucking A.
Yeah. And that's like, even Colorado, I never even realized, I've been there before and I hadn't realized like just the different terrain, leaving, where I guess it was Kansas to go to Colorado. It's flat plains for a while. And then I'm like, where are the mountains? Like, I see mountains for miles. I'm like, where the Rockies should be around here somewhere, and then you're like, oh shit. Okay. We're coming up on something. And you start seeing them. And then you just get into all kinds of different, there's like low deserts. You're going up the mountains. You're going, all kinds of different shit that I just never had experienced from where I was in Colorado, which is pretty cool. Cause you're seeing, all the different landscapes, just in one state. So.
Oh, shit.
Fucking
I'm just realizing right now that me and you could be twins, not from the neck up, right?
Yeah.
We got the bald head, the black cap, right?
Yeah.
Locked up. Am I off?
Now you're pretty close.
Yeah.
We should do that. Well, actually, you're a lot
Just
taller
swap.
than me, but yeah, we should do that to fuck with people. Next time we're together, I'll put like coffee cans on my feet and walk around.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, I was gonna say you look like an Oompa Loompa standing next to John. Dude. John's a pretty fucking rugged dude.
That's funny. I love it.
I remember the first time I met you. I was like, "Yo, what up, man?" You shook my hand. I was like, "Holy fuck, bro!" It's so funny because you always see people on Instagram, and then when you meet them in real life, like it's the same thing with Rodney. Eva Jesus. When I met him, I was like, dude, you are so much taller than I thought.
Yeah, right?
It was alarming. Yeah.
But anyway, so you met up with him. Did you start like laxing a little bit more on that trip once you got to Colorado and you're with the group?
Yeah,
or was it still like you guys were on a mission to?
No, I mean we had, obviously we had to get there. We were shooting for Friday. That was like, we wanted to get to Mexico by Friday.
Yeah.
So, we kept a good pace. Like Charlie likes to ride everything at 85. Doesn't matter if you're going up switchbacks or straight roads, So I learned that, riding with someone that's, doing anything in life, but riding with someone that's more experienced than you really helps you become a better rider. And I feel like, I just gained so much more respect for, someone that's been riding for a long time in just different areas. Like,
and has ridden everywhere. Yeah.
And I realized like even, we have nice roads around here, but they're not the same as roads out there, and it's a different style of riding. Like, you know how to ride, but you're like, oh shit, like, okay, I got to do this a little bit differently. And like watching him ride and just learning was really like awesome. It just makes you better at, everything.
Yeah.
Having someone that's better than you, influence you like that. But, we more or less, we took our time, we put in, okay, we want to get to here, by tonight, and we did that, but we weren't like, 5-minute gas stops, got to get back on the road. You kept our pace, but we had a good.
What's that gap like from Colorado to Mexico?
Well, see, we left on Tuesday and we got there. We stayed. We went to Arizona, and we got to Arizona.
I'm super like ignorant when it comes to like geographical shit.
Yeah.
But Colorado's not far from Texas, right? It's like they're like aligned.
Kind of mid.
kind
Mountain time.
of. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Actually, I gotta find my map. But we stopped in Arizona to pick up a third person. So we spent the night there, and we got there by Friday. So I mean, again, I want to say
that's
it's
not
like
bad.
1,000. It's like maybe like 1,000 miles or something like that, or a little over. But like we took our time. We weren't like we if we needed to pick up the pace, we did a little bit, but it wasn't like we were killing ourselves to get there.
Right.
So
that's pretty fucking rad.
Yeah. Don't mind me. I'm gonna grab my phone real quick just because I want to get a map so I can actually have some knowledge-based information for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Colorado, I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's like directly above Arizona, Well, not directly above, but north of Arizona, like that far west.
Yeah, let's see. I was trying to, I don't know if you guys saw, I was trying to track, what at least the routes that I was going.
Yeah, I think I remember you put up a picture of a map, right?
Yeah, yep.
I think I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
So when did you roll into Mexico, like nighttime or daytime?
No, daytime. Because we stayed in, let's see. Yeah, so from Colorado, I guess it depends where you are in Colorado, because Colorado is like, there's a little chunk of Oklahoma in the one corner of Colorado, and then it goes into Texas. But
I was close, dude.
Yeah, close enough. But yeah, we shot straight through pretty much like just missing four corners. Like we actually rode Monument Valley, went to went to Forrest Gump Hill, where he stops and like, I'm done running.
Yeah,
and it turns around. Like we got some pictures there. That was sick.
That's sick. Oh, I remember those pictures.
Yeah. But that was like almost a straight shot to like right out. Like Payson is right outside Phoenix, probably like maybe like an hour outside Phoenix.
Okay.
And then the last stop was Yuma, because Yuma there's the border crossing, so we spent the night in Yuma, and then crossed over there. But we got there, probably I want to say like afternoon.
Okay.
We left at like 8 in the morning, maybe on Friday, and got there like 12, 11:30, 12.
So is that like the day when everybody's getting there, or is it just like people are just showing up as they will?
So yeah, kind of people show up as they will, but I know that in Arizona or Temecula, that's where I guess it's California. Yeah, California. The guys from Builtwell leave from like their compound in Temecula, and I think they ride down. So some people that had a pre-party on Thursday, then they leave I think on Friday, and everyone rolls in. It's kind of like every other. It's like every other motorcycle event.
Yeah.
And then one trickles in. Some people stay longer. Some people come earlier. Some people leave earlier.
Right.
So
that's pretty dope. So what do you think once you rolled up to it? Was it everything you were hoping it was going to be?
Oh, I wondered if this is where I was supposed to be or not. I was like, do I want to be here? It literally was like rolling up to Mexican Daytona.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Like you're rolling.
Oh, that's a missed opportunity for that to be the name, dude.
Dude, seriously, like no joke. I'm like, this is like really like, huh? In my head, I'm just picturing like, because you see all the pictures online. Everyone's in this like, you start formulating all these different ideas of what
like
this
the bungalows
is.
And all that shit.
Yeah. And I'm thinking this is like kind of on the coast and like, but it's kind of like in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around, and it's like in a city, like a little city. Kind of a little shanty city, but it's still like in a city. And I'm like, what did I just roll into? Because when you come through Mexico, you're coming through like, pretty cool landscapes.
I heard going out there, like some of the places you roll through are super fucking sketchy.
They're interesting. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those places like you always keep your senses with you. You always kind of heads on a swivel. You're always thinking about shit. You don't lose your bearing, but I mean, we got street tacos, like we hung out, like, you see the cops roll through and they have full up armored vehicles and shit like that. But, you realize you're not in America anymore, which is weird because it's not like you're on a plane and you're like, oh, I'm in somewhere else.
Yeah,
like,
you can still see America.
Yeah. Dude, but I'm telling you, like where you cross the border and you're like, oh, I'm in fucking Mexico. There's like no doubt.
It's not a resort.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like the quality of everything kind of goes down a little bit, and it's like, real interesting. And I'm like, oh,
dude,
okay.
I used to live in Phoenix. I used to go down to Mexico, like, and when you don't go to like a resort where there's like filtered water and shit and like armed guards, it gets pretty sketchy. And I got Montezuma's Revenge, and it was the closest I've ever been to dying in my entire life. It was the worst experience I've ever had.
Yeah, I just kept thinking back to Rob and Amy with like their story.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Dude, it's bad.
Dude, Wigwam Motors almost fucked me up with Montezuma's Revenge. She wanted to get the Pinots. And I'm like, I don't know. Pina colada does sound good, but I'm like, oh shit, there's ice in there.
Yeah.
Luckily we were good, but I was a little nervous for a minute. I was like,
did he get one?
Yeah, we all got it. Which is funny.
You guys were
you chanced it?
Oh, yeah, we did.
No.
We just went for it. Yeah, we went for it. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, we went for it.
That could have turned bad.
Oh, dude. I was like so mad. I was so mad.
If you've never had it, dude, it's legitimately a full 24 hours that you convert your body into like a sprinkler head, like out of both ends. And there's
dude, I remember Amy and Rob were in a hotel like hooked up to IVs, dude.
Oh yeah, dude, you can't get, if you're still in Mexico, you can't drink any water and you're so thirsty.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And you can't like drive.
Just keep drinking the water so it just never ends.
Dude, I was drinking like a pineapple like concentrate out of a can that I opened with a knife, like anything to get liquid in your body, because you can you fucking feel like you're gonna die.
Yeah. I think I was talking to old
Fuck that
Tugboat.
pina colada shit, dude.
Dude, it was pretty good though. Connor, oh. Yeah, he pulled a good one. But I think I was talking to old Tugboat, and because he went there a couple of years ago, and I'm like, yeah, I was watching these dudes, and like, at first it just seemed like they were using the ice in this wheelbarrow that had like old concrete in it just to put for like the beer, and he's like, oh, they're still using that thing, and he went in like 2017 or something like that. I'm like, oh, so this thing's been around for some years, and they're using this thing for the ice, the drinks, because they're just chopping this shit out of like a moving truck. They just got an ice pick, and they're breaking up ice in a moving truck. It's not like, they have a lot of ice. Like here, you got ice machines and all these different things. They're like, no, they truck this shit in. Like there's some stuff like that, but it's totally different.
Yeah, where are they getting ice
Damn.
from, bro?
God, dude,
Coming
who
in from
knows?
Canada?
Right from the shitter. Right from the shitter.
Built Wells just trucking in the ice.
Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely it took me a little bit to like get comfortable because I was like, man, this is not what I was expecting. I'm like, there's too many Dyna Bros here that are Mexican Dyna Bros. I'm not used to it's like everything that I'm like, I don't really enjoy about motorcycles. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's some things I do, and I'm like, this is literally Mexican Daytona. And obviously
Yeah,
we're in Mexico, but like
Well, it's crazy because, like, obviously we follow like a lot of chopper guys.
yeah.
So, like, those are the pictures we see of El Diablo. So, like, you just see all the chopper dudes on like Paradise, and you're like, oh my god.
Yep. And that's what I figured. I'm like, there's just going to be a bunch of chopper dudes hanging out in Mexico.
You're like, there's
That's
gonna be pans and knuckles everywhere.
oh yeah, like you could count the amount of like old bikes probably on 10 to 15 old bikes
Fuck.
know, spread around. Like maybe there's a couple more, but they weren't like you go to any chopper show around you guys or even in Jersey or New York, whatever, and like there's a ton of bikes, but a lot of people
Yeah.
were like, yeah, I'm not bringing down crazy expensive shit because I'm worried about the shit getting stolen.
Right.
Oh, no
'cause
shit.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
reality of stuff. Like you're going down, you don't like a lot of people either road down, trailer down, and if you break down, you're kind of
You're
in the middle of
fucked, yeah.
nowhere,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, when we were talking to Dirty Joe there, they left a couple of bikes that broke down and they had to hide them, he was saying,
yeah,
with family
Yeah.
members.
yeah. I was with some people that were shooting for different magazines and trying to get some like footage and stuff like that, and it was like a challenge. We had to like, go through the city and find people where they were at because the whole setup was just different than everyone had explained it to me. So it was like pretty interesting. And even like my friend that I was with, he had an Evo chop and he broke his primary belt. And I searched for like 2 hours riding everywhere to try to find a primary belt. I was going to people's houses. Like people were directing me to like, oh, go to this person's house. I'm like, okay. Like in the middle of Mexico, going to people's houses. I can speak a little bit of Spanish, not very well. I'm like, yeah, but it was fine. I didn't find a belt, but like, some people were pretty cool. They were like offered trucks and stuff like that. Luckily, he actually found somebody when a friend helped him out. But it's definitely interesting.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So when you get
So how
down
long
there,
did
is there like a place that you're staying, or is it just like wherever you can sleep or set up or whatever?
So, again, the people I came down with, they were like, we have a house. Well, the house that they had was like 30 minutes away from everything.
Oh, so
I
it
was
wasn't like down in the
yeah,
spot.
and I'm like, my first time, I kind of wanted to like see all the craziness, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to stay there. So I really didn't have a place to stay, and I was just like crashing, wherever this, like, I actually they let me use their because they had 2 hotel rooms because they had to be there the first night to shoot a bunch of shit. So I actually just wound up crashing with them. But they have those like the bungalow. I can't remember what they exactly call them, but they have those it was like $100 per person to sleep on shitty ass plywood with like, palm leaves covering the roof. And it's like, yeah, I was like, oh, $100 for the whole thing. They're like, nah, per person. I'm like, yeah, that's a little extreme.
Wow.
And people were saying like, yeah, we camp on the beach, but the ocean came like right up to the seawall. Like there was no beach when I got there. It was like,
Those guys didn't make it
what
back.
yeah. So
Got
it was
swept
like,
out.
yeah, because I don't care. I'll sleep under a rock. Like I was hoping for anything, and I'm like, yeah, that's not going to be the case. So,
Shit.
but a lot of people, it seemed this year, like a lot of people got Airbnbs and were kind of scattered. There wasn't even like the main area. There wasn't a huge grouping gathering of people, so it was like really scattered about.
Huh.
Yeah. So it's definitely like a weird, it's a weird thing to come into. I definitely had different expectations for it. It wasn't like everyone was really at this one spot. Everyone was kind of just in their own little groups, and you kind of had to find them if you wanted to see friends or like meet different people. But
Yeah,
you know,
that's kind of
it
how the
wasn't-
ride down is too. They don't make a huge convoy. It's just like we're all
Yep.
meeting down at this spot. Hmm.
yeah, Yeah, and it's cool. Like, there are a couple of times we got off the road and just were taking pictures in different places, and you'll see like different groups of riding, like all different people on choppers, adventure bikes, baggers, and like 3, 4, 5, 10 people roll down the road, and it's like it's a cool thing though. You're seeing all these different groups of friends just going down, all going to the same thing. So yeah, that was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's the other thing I didn't know until we started like interviewing people that have been to Diablo Run. It's like I thought everybody was like meeting in Cali and you just like rode out
down.
deep. Because that's what it looks like online and shit, like when you see the pictures and shit.
Yeah.
I thought they had chase cars and shit,
Yeah, I mean, some people might, like, I don't know, a lot of people I don't feel didn't. And again, there was like,
I thought like Biltwell had like chase cars. I thought it was like a ride. You start at a point and then they chase you down.
So I thought as well, but I didn't come from like the California side. I don't know what they had. They might have,
right.
But I came with 3 other people. So from a different, from Arizona. So, but a bunch of people had different, like we met up with, actually when we first rolled in, Charlie noticed Chicken Rick and the guys from Kansas. So the Martian guys from Kansas. So we like wound up pulling off and like meeting up with them and, saying what's up. And it's fun. It's like anywhere you go, you start like realizing you're like, oh, I'm all the way across the country in a different country, but I know all the same people. Like Rob was there and like, just everyone that is all in the same spot, So it's pretty cool. To
that's
see
wild, dude. Like just running into Chicken Rick in Mexico.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck?
Well, it's like it's like funny 'cause you're yeah, for real. Like you're going down the road and you're like, holy shit, there's Chicken Rick. Like it's just like you're going like if you were passing them anywhere else in the States. It's just so funny that like you recognize people and they're like you're a totally different element, but like oh shit, we're all here for the same thing. Like it's funny. And him and I run into, like, we go to a lot of events. He goes to, like, a ton more, but I always see him at everything I go to. He's always a staple everywhere I go. So,
yep. So how long did you spend in Mexico?
We got there Friday, Sunday, so 3 days.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was short, but at the same time, it was, like, the perfect length of time to get, like, my feet wet and to go into Mexico. Because I work in Arizona quite often. Yeah, I work in Arizona quite often. I've just never made the trek. Like probably for the past 7 years, I've been going to Arizona and just never made it across the border. So,
oh shit.
Yeah, but I got my passport literally within like 2 weeks of going. I was like super nervous because I put in for it in February and I didn't get it until the end of like March. So I was like coming real close to, or the end of
April.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yep. It is a different country, so, passports.
Well, I mean...
Ronald's like, I just went.
Yeah. I mean, it's not...
He's like, I just, like, followed this trail in Arizona, and the next thing I know, I was in Mexico.
It's been a minute since I've been down to Mexico, but on the way, when I used to go down there was no passport required.
Okay.
You just went through. And in fact, on the way down into Mexico, they didn't even stop you at the border. You just needed an ID to get back into the States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need a passport now, so.
I assume some, like probably like COVID or some shit. Because I heard the same thing. Actually, we were talking about this with Evo Jesus last week.
Oh, Canada, right?
Yeah, Canada requires a passport now.
Yeah, I remember when I was like 16, all I needed was a signed letter from my dad saying I could go across the border. That was it.
Damn.
In Canada?
Yeah, that was it.
By yourself?
I was with friends, but I wasn't with anyone of
not
age.
With a guardian, no shit.
Yeah, no guardian. So,
that's wild.
Yeah, times have changed.
Yeah. Fuck, dude.
Damn. Yeah, so when I was going into Mexico, we didn't even slow down. Didn't even check anything. They didn't give a fuck, dude. We're going like 100 miles an hour. We had a van,
like,
dude. The door, yeah, dude. The door of the van was open. We're on the highway. We're chugging beers, and it was just like, meow. But we came through. Like, getting back in, they cared a lot more.
See, that's like funny. We got stopped, and I'm pretty sure like we got stopped because Charlie's bike's like massive. He's got like some ridiculous. I don't even know, like 40.
It's huge.
It's a huge rigid bike, rigid front, rigid rear, running a car tire in the rear, like. And then they were just like interested to see what he had. So we got pulled over, and they like, you know, they look at your bags. They don't really go through your bags. Like I think the one dude unclipped my saddlebag and then like didn't even do
Going
anything.
into
like,
Mexico?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What do they
They're
think you're smuggling into Mexico?
I don't know. They were asking because they saw my buddies came with Colorado driver's licenses. So they're like, "Oh, you got weed?" He's like, "No." He's like, "You sure you don't have weed?" Like they're just busting balls. They're not really like doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, they're just doing their job, whatever. They really didn't care too much. Coming in was even easier though. I think I got yelled at because I didn't stop at the stop sign. I didn't see it. That was the only thing, and it took me 30 seconds to get across the border.
Bro, I got a quick story about Mexico because so I just told you we went down to Mexico. I went down there. My roommate was a door-to-door meat salesman.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, I thought he was making it up, but
I need that job.
The guy that owned the company or whatever, he owned like a place down in Mexico. We went down there, and I didn't work there, but he was like, "Hey, can my roommate go?" And we were like, "Yeah, whatever." So I went down there. Everybody that sells meat door to door in Arizona is fresh out of jail, addicted to drugs or something, right? So we went down there and we partied, and that's another whole story for the lad. But on the way back up, they did stop us, and we were probably at the border for like 2-3 hours trying to get back in. But they had me drive the meat van back through into the United States because I was the only one at the time that had it. Out of like 15 dudes in this van, I was the only one that actually had a legitimate ID, like a driver's license. And it was a meat van, and we were pulling a trailer with a bunch of four-wheelers on it. And I went up, and then we got to the border. They're like, "Okay, everything checks out."
What do you mean by meat van?
So they sell door-to-door meat in a van, and they have
but it's
coolers.
like is it like lettered up meat on the side?
It was like whatever the company was, like, you know, like Greg's Cuts or whatever, you know, like Greg's Meats. And then in the back of the van there would be a freezer, and they'd sell like crab legs, they'd sell like filet mignon, and it was all like freeze dried in these freezers. And it was pretty good. And dude, I actually went out with him a few times because it was like a cash business. Like seriously, everybody was just like, "Yeah, just got out of jail like the week before," you know. And it was a cash business. You just go up, knock on a door, and be like, "Hey, would you like to buy some meat? Would you like some Alaskan king crab? Would you like some filet mignon?" Some people would buy the entire freezer, dude. They'd just be like, "Here's like $3,000," and then like they'd do a whole freezer sale, freezer included. So yeah, the guy was loaded.
That's wild.
Dude. Yeah, dude. But it was actually, yeah, dude, it was fucking crazy. The crazy people. But on the way in, I drove through. We went through. Everything checked out. Right, I was the only one with a valid driver's license. We get through, and one of the dudes in the back was like, "There's like a pound of marijuana in one of the gas tanks of the ATV."
Damn.
So I did smuggle drugs.
Allegedly.
And I was like, "What the fuck?" Dude, nobody told me either. They were just like everybody else knew. They just put it in the gas can, so like in the gas tank, so like the dogs couldn't sniff it or something.
Yeah.
But I could have been in a Mexican jail or I guess, I don't know. Would they send me back to Mexico to go to jail for that? I don't know.
I don't know. They probably
or would they be like, "Hey,"
money.
Well, it was an American border agent, so I guess they would probably arrest me.
Oh, were you coming in from Mexico to America, or America to Mexico?
From Mexico back into the States.
Yeah, you'd be fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd still be in jail.
I'd still be in jail. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was not cool. That was not cool of that door-to-door meat salesman.
Well, that's like the one thing that everyone kept telling me was like, you know, just mind all your traffic stops and everything like that, because, you know, again, you're in Mexico. Their laws are not our laws, which you don't you don't even think about it. You're like, because everything seems similar. It's like being in a shitty area. You know, like a lot of the places
where you're more out to like do dumb shit.
Yeah, and 100%. And like a lot of places were like, you know, they were pretty neat, but they were definitely run down. You know, going through Mexico, like all the little villages and stuff like that. But like, yeah, people were like, yeah, put your feet down at stop signs. Like, make sure you're yielding to traffic if you have to do this or do that. Like, we didn't have any problems. Actually, I didn't I didn't have any problems with any law my whole trip, I was very surprised, which was great. But super, super cautious of it, like in Mexico, just because, you stop somewhere, something happens, like they're not really looking to put you in jail. Like they just want you, like they want to get you for money,
Yeah.
because they don't give a shit. They're all crooked, not all, I'm sure not all of them, but like that's their main thing is they're making money. They need to feed their families. They're doing this. They're not looking to, do extra work. They're just like, oh, you're going to pay for this? Like you're going to get out of this? Well, money talks, bullshit walks,
Yeah.
So, but all in all, it was a fun trip. Met a lot of cool people from all over the place. Just a good experience. Wasn't what I was expecting, but it was still a fun experience. Beautiful, beautiful weather. Scenery was beautiful. Definitely saw some cool bikes. Definitely interesting to see even some of like the Mexican guys. Like they had a lot of cool, bikes themselves. Like a lot of different. There's some MCs. There's a bunch of different shit, but they had a lot of interesting stuff, just in the area. So it was cool to see the, how other people, view motorcycles or what they're into and shit like that. So
Where was I guess where was the next stop after Mexico? How long had you been gone by that point? Like a week or so?
yeah, so I left. So Friday to Friday, or I left on Thursday. So Thursday to Thursday would have been a week. So yeah, just about 10 days I was gone. And then from there, I went back to Yuma for a night, just to kind of like get my bearings straight and, get unfucked from the weekend. And then I wound up doing, hung out with Wigwam Motors for a while. So I was like, okay, I'm going to come up to see you in San Diego. And Shovel Sam was with him and a couple other people. So I was like, I wanted to hang out with Connor and just see what he's got going on. Because, I've always heard all these things of him just living in a hangar on the airport, just like all the shit he's into, So wound up making my way to San Diego. I think I spent 3 days with him. And was it the first? So I got there on Monday. Got there Monday night. Hung out, and like California is super interesting, especially at night on the beach. A lot of interesting characters roaming around. He took me to the famous Spearmint Bar. So got to
Spearmint
enjoy.
Bar.
Oh, that's Connor has a good story for that one. I got to let him tell you the Spearmint story, but the gist of it goes, I guess some guy was trying to get him to experiment, but it sounded like he was saying spearmint.
Oh,
So
experiment.
yeah. So wound up doing that, and then I think what was that? I guess Tuesday rolls around. He's like, I get his hangar's awesome. It is on the airport. I'm like, I don't know where the fuck this is. I'm rolling up to it. I'm like, how do I get into this place? Everything, gates and everything like that. It's a private airport, but I'm like, all right, like, just definitely was not in my element rolling up to this place. There's like, a lot of business casual people rolling around, coming off of their private jets and shit. And I'm like, yeah, I'm packed to the nine, and I'm looking like a pile of shit by now. And I'm like, all right, I think this is where
like, who's this homeless dude?
Yeah, pretty much. Like Connor rolls up on one of his old Indians, like, all right, we're going in the back. So go out back, and like, we just roll up, and dude, it's like such a sick setup. He's got it made. It's just like a pretty decent sized airplane hangar. And he's got his little trailer in there where he sleeps, and it's just fucking to the gills. Just everything vintage, everything old. He's got his international truck in there, shit ton of his bikes. Got an airplane fuselage in there, like tucked in there, because that's like the stipulation of the airport. You got to have a plane. So he's got his plane in there. Super, super cool spot, and crashed there on Monday. Tuesday rolls around. He's like, so, I'm into water polo, and I go to water polo, for like kind of like a free float game or whatever. So we're going to go. You cool with that? I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck water polo is, but sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, what the fuck is water polo?
Yeah. So he goes to like, he's part of like this college league, and these kids are like all like 18 and 19 years old, 20 years old or whatever. And it's just like anyone can go and play water polo just at like open practice. So basically water polo is like basketball in the water. So it's like you're treading water and then you're throwing the ball, passing it to people, and then you have to throw it into this goal. And I'm like, holy fuck, dude. That's how you realize that you're not in shape. When you have to tread water for as long as you can and play this game. And I'm like, Connor's fucking killing it. And I'm like, dude, I never would expect you to play this game. Wild. Never thought I would be doing this on my trip.
So you played too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He wouldn't let me not play. I'm like, whatever. I'll try it. Sucked at it. Terrible. But, you know, I gave it a go. So, yeah. Definitely an interesting experience.
I cannot tread water to literally save my life.
Oh, dude,
I have to swim, and if I stop swimming, I'm dead.
That's it. Swimming or sinking. That's it.
That's
things.
it, dude.
Oh, man, that's awesome. But yeah, so from there, we just like bounced around San Diego. He was taking me a bunch of different places. And I will say, like, Connor rides his old, 30s and 40s Indians like anyone rides a modern bike. It's
really?
Like ridiculous. Yeah, dude. It's ridiculous to watch him ride. So that's, just awesome. He let me ride his 4-cylinder. So I was the first. I've never ridden foot clutch jockey shift before. So it was like a tank shift, but super rad setup, super cool. Just like, it's awesome to see how involved he is with all that stuff. He really and we clicked. I'm like, dude, I wish you were closer. It's like we got along so good. We hung up, we hung out in Laconia. I went up there for a little bit. Just awesome. So it was
you were, when you got back, you were noticeably absent from the Low Life Lowdown.
Yeah. I had a wedding. I had back-to-back weddings that weekend. So I had a wedding that weekend and then a wedding after. And I was like, so we couldn't go up. I had to go during the week to Laconia. So we left on like Sunday and we left on Tuesday. It was like the dumbest trip, but it was still fun. But I'm like, yeah, I miss all the important stuff, all the fun stuff,
More rain too, I bet, right?
Yeah. More rain. Never stops. East, as soon as you go east, it just rains.
So from, I guess now you're a couple weeks into your trip, right? And you're in San Diego. Where do you go from there?
So San Diego, I go up to Long Beach. I spend a night in Long Beach.
Did you see anybody shit on the sidewalk in San Diego?
No.
I know that's a thing out there,
shit.
Right?
Oh, dude, I saw a lot of weird shit. Actually, it's funny. We were leaving the one bar, and I'm like, what the fuck is this dude doing? He's running down the road, like super tall, skinny dude wearing like floral, like silk, like pajamas. Like just, dude, I don't know what these things were. He looked like Frank Zappa, and he was running like he had to take a shit, and we're like, where is this dude going? And dude, he's running down the road. I'm like, dude, this place is so weird. We saw these strangest people. And I'm like, it's a Monday. I'm like, why are there so many people out? He's like, oh, no one works. This is just what they do. There's a drum circle here on Wednesday. I'm like, okay, cool.
Jesus.
There's a what?
A drum circle.
What the fuck?
Oh, it's just like, I don't know, some hippie shit, But like this dude's like running and we see him in a pizzeria and he's just like, I don't know what his deal was. He was just like all fucked up. Dude, it was great.
He just really needed to take a shit.
Yeah, he was so happy when we
His
saw him.
toilet was broken. He was like, oh man, I'm in my floral pajamas. This is going to be so weird looking.
Yeah.
When I'm running down the street to this pizzeria.
Oh, dude, I think that's just California, man. It's just an interesting place. Yeah, like the first spot Connor takes me, it's like, it's called like Sunset Cliffs or something like that. Cool spot. And we like roll up and these two dudes are like fucked out of their minds, just like high as shit. And these dudes are like, ugh, you guys like in a motorcycle club? We're like, nope, no, we're not. Just come to hang out. He's like, all right. I'm like, look over. And the dude's just holding incense, burning incense in the back of his truck. I'm like, where the fuck am I? Why is this happening? Like, what a weird...
California, baby.
Dude,
that actually sounds exactly like I imagine California being.
Yeah.
It's just ignorant, but no.
Yeah,
confirmed.
It's so funny. No, it's confirmed, man. It's so strange. But yeah, so from there I went to Long Beach, spent the night in Long Beach, and looking back, I definitely should have done things a little bit differently because I didn't really look at the map too well, but I went from Long Beach to Alabama Hills. Stayed in Alabama Hills that night, which was awesome. Like Charlie recommended me going up there, and you can camp I camped at the bottom, and then you just ride up this mountain, like switchbacks all the way up this mountain, and then you overlook the whole valley.
No shit.
And it's like sick, yeah. And the top is like kind of, it's like a trailhead, so you can like you just stop, but it's like, dude, there's still snow everywhere, you know.
Oh no shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it was just like such a cool, surreal, you know, experience. Just like look, I'm like, you're at the bottom. It's, you know, like a desert area, and the top it's all forest and just snow and all kinds of shit. You know, actually, real quick, when we were back when I was with Charlie in Colorado, we were trying to shave off some time, and there was this road. It was like a dirt road, and it was like a 30-mile. We looked and there was a 30-mile dirt road, and he's like, "You guys down for this?" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. I mean, we'll try it. Why not?" And there were some dudes doing like construction, and he's like, "Oh, let me just ask these guys if we can actually get down this road, if there's anything like, you know, messed up or whatever." So he gets done talking to him. He comes back. He's like, "Yeah, those guys said that you can get about 8 miles down this road, and the whole thing's snowpacked. So you're not getting anywhere."
Holy shit.
Yeah, and again, I was like, yeah,
That's
shit
so
you don't
fucked
realize.
up.
Like, I never even thought of like stuff like that on my trip, you know. But I'm like, yeah, we would have been 8 miles down a dirt road and then had to turn around. So
Yeah.
you know,
That's fucked.
Fuck.
yeah, just the stuff you don't even realize, like, you know, until you get into like those environments. You're like, yeah, and that's time. You're burning time at that point. You know, 16
Yeah.
miles. That's a lot of time, daylight. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so hit the Alabama Hills. It was great, and then from there, I rode down. I went to Death Valley. So
Sick.
if I did it right, I should have went from like Long Beach to Joshua Tree through Death Valley and then Alabama Hills would have been like the route to take. But I
You
pretty
just
much
went
made
backwards.
like I went
Backtrackers.
backwards and made like I kind of backtracked,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But-
You're like, why am I back in Mexico?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like the whole joke of the trip. I hate backtracking because we did so much backtracking just to
Yeah.
get around shit. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my god. But
Did you do anything
Yeah.
cool in Long Beach? Or you just stopped there.
no, I just stopped there.
Yeah.
I just stopped there for the night. But yeah, like after Alabama Hills, Death Valley was like wild. You know, such an interesting, and it was like, you know, picturesque, just the long roads of nothing. You know,
Right.
going up mountains, down into valleys, just like every which way. Definitely way bigger and longer than I thought it was. Definitely thought the bike was going to overheat, you know, and I was
Really?
riding my Fat Bob, you know, 2019
That's stupid
you know,
hot.
Fat Bob. Oh, dude, it was 118, and it was not even
Holy fuck.
yeah.
That's pretty warm.
Yeah.
How do you even live your life in those temperatures?
And people live in Death Valley, which is even more crazy.
Fuck,
Like
dude.
actually
On
live
purpose?
there. Yes. Yeah.
They're
and
not
like-
like mutants or something. Like what
I mean,
the
they
fuck?
might be. They might be.
Did you
know,
see
I can't-
anybody
I
in
can't
Dude,
vouch
floral,
for them,
floral pajamas running? Like they had to take a huge dump.
That's
Yeah.
wild, dude. That's fucking hot.
That's fucking
but-
hot.
Oh yeah.
Is it a dry
Yeah.
heat?
Sure. Yeah. The dry heat.
Did
The
it feel
dry
like a
heat thing
fucking
is like-
oven?
Yeah, the dry heat thing's like, you know, it's dry, but it's still like there's still humidity. It's still hot
Yeah.
no matter what. It just sucks, you know.
Fuck,
And-
dude.
Like, yeah, one of the security guards I stopped at a gas station was like, "You all right, man? Like, you're looking pretty warm." I had like a light jacket. And I was like, "You should probably like unbutton for a little bit." And I'm like, "All right, man, I appreciate it." Like,
Where's this going?
you know, oh
Yeah.
yeah. Next thing
take-
you know,
take that
10 minutes
shirt off.
later,
I'll spray with the hose. Come around back.
Yeah.
I'll
Don't go
lace
on
those
Pornhub and
nips,
check
bud.
out.
See how far you can take it.
Hey,
How was
OnlyFans,
that riding with it being that hot, dude? Because like
I
I know
mean,
even
it's-
like when I ride around here and it's like 90 something, I'm like, this is miserable.
So it's
But
like
it's a wet heat.
Yeah. Dude, it's like one of my like older. I hang out with a couple old heads, and like the one dude's like on my trips. He's like, one thing I can tell you when you're in hot weather, he's like, wear something light, like a light jacket, but don't just wear short sleeves or don't like get
Yeah,
super.
you'd be fucked.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
He's like, yeah, because you don't realize when you're riding, you're losing all your sweat. Because if you're
Yeah.
wearing nothing, your sweat's evaporating. You're not cooling your body down.
Yeah.
So he's like, at least keep something light on you. And I kind of was like, oh yeah, no, that kind of makes sense. So, but it's like brutal. I was waiting for my bike to overheat. I was waiting for a check engine to come on or something like, but no issues, you know. But I was just like, is this gonna fucking end? Like I'm going, and it's just like nonstop. It's the longest road, you know, just
Really?
going through everything. Oh yeah, but again, it's like you get through that, and then like your next, you know, your next couple pass, the next couple of roads, it's just like awesome. You
No
know,
shit.
cool scenery, you know, just beautiful openness, you know. I guess Death Valley is loaded with like locusts, which are just giant fucking grasshoppers.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, my bike's covered. I'm covered in all this shit. It's just like, like I still haven't washed my bike yet, and it's just covered in like debris and like road trash. You know, just like so many things. Just everything that you don't think of happens. It's just like wow. But yeah. So after Death Valley, I'm trying to think. I made my way. I was making my way to see Shovel Sam. So I saw him in Mexico, and he's like, he was doing some shit. But since I kind of hung out for a couple of days in San Diego, he was back in where he was in Milpitas by the time I got there. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll make my way up. So just trying to look here. Yeah. So I weaseled my way up to him, spent the night with him. So that was cool. Got to hang out with him, meet his wife, you know. Then from there, I started planning out my route I wanted to hit Highway 1 and hit the coast. So I wound up going a little bit through LA. I hit the bike shed, which is a pretty neat little spot. So, I think there's a London bike shed. That's like I think their original. And then there's a US bike shed in LA. And I had a lot of cool shit. They had a little like museum for all the different bikes they had on display. They had a tattoo shop, you know, bar, barber shop. I got dude, you know, I don't have any hair, but trimmed my beard for me, gave me a shave, buzzed my head, and I'm like, that's awesome, you know. So I hit that, and then kind of just kept going towards Sam.
So now are you on like the sightseeing part of it? Like you're not in a rush?
Yeah, I mean,
or is it like you're still like, no, you have a timeline to like get to.
Yeah, I'm like, I tried to keep it. I tried to keep it moving, but at the same time, like if there was something I wanted to do or wanted to see, like I tried to make the time to do it.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
I had a time frame I had to be, because that's the one thing you don't realize how much time gets eaten up, you know, just by riding. Like, oh, you know, this place is only 300 miles away. Well, 300 miles takes, you know, hours.
Yeah.
You know, it could take like 6, 7. Yeah, it could take 6, 7 hours. And I wasn't leaving at like 10 in the morning. I was leaving at like sometimes, you know, 6, 7 in the morning. You know, I was trying to get like an earlier start. You know, but it's still just like, because you don't realize every time you stop for gas, that adds 20 minutes to your thing. Yeah. If you're, you know, if you need a little bit longer of a break, you're hanging out there. It just keeps adding on time, you know?
Yep. How was like the back and the ass and all that doing after all these fucking miles?
Yeah.
Like, at some point, no matter what bike you're riding, like you got to be like, fuck me, dude.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, you start feeling it. You definitely start feeling it after a while. Like I always had like a nerve issue with my left leg. So that just like, I don't feel like the whole left side of my body. It's just like fucking numb. The back was good. You're leaning on a pack. So as long as you pack your pack right, you're not really feeling like, you know, too bad. Mm. When you realize that you put that socket in the wrong spot and, you know, because I had a built whale bag, which was pretty good. But if you had something in the wrong spot in that pocket, oh, you're feeling it. Or you cram too much shit in your bag. You're like, oh, this is fucking weird. Like you're just going every which way trying to get comfortable. But for the most part, I mean, dude, you're breaking it up. I probably got around 150 miles to like a tank, something like that. So, you know, I'm getting off the bike and you know, the 10 minutes you're stretching out or whatever, you're ready to go. By the time you hit that like 130, 140 mark, you're like, all right, it's gonna have to stop soon, you know?
Yep. So that's what I always tell people. Like, I did a run out to Ohio. And dude, stopping those every 100 miles or so is fucking key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's like, unless you're going for some kind of record or whatever, like I'm not trying to, you know, I think I did 700, 800 miles in a day the one day. And like, I definitely could have went more, you know, I stopped at like 4:00. I could have kept going for another couple hours, but I'm like, I don't have to, like, you know, fuck that. Like I really tried not to ride at night.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't want to. Yeah, by the time, in a lot of places out west, like, it doesn't get dark until like 9 o'clock, if not later. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need to be riding anymore. I've already been riding for 12 hours already, you know, or something like that.
Right.
So it's like, why push it, you know?
Yeah. And enjoy it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you said, you're on fucking vacation.
Yep. Yeah. And that's like, you know, that's what I just kept telling myself. I'm like, if you see something, just stop, you know, see what, like, you know, take it in. And like, I was trying to take a lot of pictures, and I haven't really got around to like posting any of the pictures I've taken. You know, I just got a lot of shit developed too. But I was trying to take pictures, and I was trying to mentally take pictures, because sometimes you just want to take it in, because my whole thing is like, I'll never be able to describe the things that I've seen on my trip.
Right.
You know, and that's like the bittersweet thing, because at some point I was like, this is awesome. I'm doing this by myself because it's an accomplishment. Like, I rode 11,000 miles in 35 days,
Right.
you know? But at the same time, it's like, I didn't really share that experience with anyone. So I'm the only person that knows, you know, what I've seen.
Right.
So that's like the bittersweet. Like, I wish there's some things like, yo, do you remember seeing that back there? Like, no, I'm the only person that can say, like, you know, to myself, oh,
I'm sure you had that conversation though while you're riding.
Oh yeah. Like, I don't listen to music. Like, I don't have anything. So I'm just like I'm in my head normally. So I'm in my head twice as much. So it's just like, you know, which is good and bad, you know. But it's great. I had a great, like, you know, it was definitely something that you just feel relaxed. Like, I didn't think about work. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just thinking of, like, you know, where I'm going to, and you get focused. You're like, all right, I gotta get this. I gotta get to this next point, or I'm trying to get to. It's getting dark. I want to find somewhere to sleep.
Right.
You know. But yeah, that was just like, you know, the mental freedom that you get when you just don't have any of those responsibilities on your mind. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like shit. Like, I think a week into my trip, the fiance calls me. She's like, we don't have water. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, what's going on? I call the well company. All right, my well pump shit the bed, you know?
Oh, damn.
And I'm like, I can't really deal with this right now. Like, the time zones are different. I'm like, everything. I'm like, you kind of have to help me out here. And she took care of it. She's great, you know, but it's like, it's all that shit. And it's just like, put it out. You don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
You have to think about it, because you can't forget about life. We all have responsibilities and shit, but just the freedom of, like, not, like, if I don't want to get up in the morning, I'm tired, like, I don't have to get up. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to fucking do anything. You know, that freedom.
Were there ever days like that where you just like, fuck, like you really had to convince yourself to get back on the bike?
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely. You know, because you're just beat up after a while, man. You're just like, your body is tired.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, do I want to do this? Am I doing this? Like, when I got up to Oregon, I was in Portland for 3 days, and I like Portland, even though it's kind of a shithole. Yeah. Like, it's definitely, you know, when I got into Portland, I was trying to stay at this hotel that was downtown, and like, there's just 8 million homeless people in tents, like, all on the place. And they're like, oh, we only have valet parking. I'm like, well, you're not valeting my bike, and I'm not leaving it on the street here. So,
yeah.
And not like I even like,
why don't you just point to me where I should park?
yeah.
We'll call that valet.
Yeah. And like, I kind of started caring less and less. I'm like, if someone wants my bike or wants shit, like, go for it. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm tired. Whatever.
Yeah.
Take a plane.
Like, I'll sleep out front with these motherfuckers if you don't give me a room.
So what? On your way up to the Pacific Northwest, where you're just like seeking more rain and shitty weather, were you just like trying to find the storm systems where you could be the least comfortable?
Yeah. So, like, honestly, my whole, like, I really traversed all of California, you know. I hit pretty much a good portion of, like, the Southern California up through, you know, the central areas. And then I hit over to the coast. And I had pretty good weather. Like, I really didn't have any issues with weather until I started going up further north. You know, but it was like, I got the lane split for the first time legally, which is like fucking wild, because the traffic in like LA and just California in general is absolutely ridiculous. But everyone's pretty cool about it. Like, they move over, they get out of your way, and you're just ripping, which is pretty neat, because you're ripping past everyone, and you're trying to, you know, keep it reasonable, but at the same time you're like, oh, this is kind of fun. How fast can I go? And then you're like, oh, someo's just gonna throw open a car door or something. Yeah. Just like, or I'm gonna clip a mirror, because like,
fuck this asshole.
Yeah. Like,
how fast are you going there?
I mean, depends what the traffic is like, but sometimes I'm doing like 65, a little bit.
Fuck,
In
dude.
cars at a
moving.
stop? Holy shit.
Yeah, a lot. But that's like you start getting used to moving. You know, once you're on your bike, it's like I became one with my bike. I hadn't felt comfortable on my bike since I bought it. Like I was like, all right, this is nice, but like I didn't get in the groove with my bike. And on this trip, I was like, oh, okay, I'm feeling this. Even with my like saddlebags, with my pack, because I'm like wide now.
Yeah, you were heavy too.
I'm heavy. I got I have apes on it that's kind of stick out a little bit, and I'm like, oh, okay. But it's like, dude, it's fun. You're ripping through people. You're dropping it down in gear so you can like really everyone's hearing the exhaust. Because my exhaust, like, I know it's cliche, but like the pipes definitely save your ass. Like it saved my ass multiple times because people do not fucking pay attention.
Yeah.
You know.
You just like keeping it high geared while you're lane splitting so people can really hear you.
I'm in second gear just fucking going for it.
Lay on the horn too, just in case.
Oh yeah. But like, you know, that was just awesome.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, just a different experience. Like after a while you're like kinda on edge because you're just waiting to get fucking creamed some way, like which way or another. But you know, and in the moment it's interesting. It's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of cut through once I left Sam's, which I just
and this
wanted,
is like your turnaround point, right? Oregon was like where you start heading back.
Yeah, once I started going up, like I kind of knew like once I got to the middle of California, like everything else is making my loop back home.
Right. That's gotta be a little bit depressing, but like also like good to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely bittersweet, man, and like this, I gotta say like a rough point in my trip was like when I got to Sam's, like he got a text from Parker's parents.
Fuck.
And I'm like halfway through my trip and he's telling me like what's going on. It was like before really anyone knew about it. I guess like Chicken Rick knew, and like they're going through his phone just looking for people to let them know what's up. And like we spent some time with Parker when we were at Deadbeat, and like that really like kind of shook me for the rest of my trip a little bit, just because I'm like, fuck man, like not knowing what's going on with him and just like hearing about that, I really kind of fucked with me a little bit, because I was like, I still have thousands of miles to go, and that's just in the back of your head now. But unfortunately, I'm sure you guys, it's not the first person that's been in an accident or past riding, so it's, you kind of have to, muscle on through and keep going. So,
right.
With that and still in the back of my head, I kept going up. So I went through like kind of Napa Valley area. So I hit some of the like, wineries and stuff, like through the like valleys and stuff like that, through the vineyards and shit. Yeah. And then broke onto the coast, which was pretty wild because when you first, like where I came onto the coast was like, I want to say like a little bit like northern, like central northern California. And it was like I'm going through all of this like country area, and then all of a sudden it just like opens up and it's just the coast.
No shit.
And it's like wild. You just see like these giant rocks just in the ocean, just getting slammed by the ocean. And it's just like it was, when I got there, it was a little sunny out, but it was like still kind of like overcast, and it just looked mean. Everything there looked mean.
Yeah.
And you're riding through all these little coastal towns, and like you're looking over your left and you see the ocean, and it's like just a huge drop and just all this like, just beautiful scenery. And to your right, there's like pastures and cows. I'm like, how the fuck is this?
What the
fuck? Like, yeah. It's like such like a mind like, trip, because you're just can't comprehend like what's happening,
What's the difference if you had to like compare East Coast versus the West Coast? Like the actual coast.
The coast, I mean, again, I guess it's really where you are, because if you're going down like South Jersey, we don't have any of that, Our coast,
but I mean, you've ridden the coast up in New Hampshire and shit, right?
Yeah, I've ridden some of it. I haven't ridden like that much. Like I've been on it, not riding motorcycles, but I've been,
Next time you get time, when you're up here, we'll rip.
Oh, I'm down, man.
We'll rip from fucking. Awesome. We'll hit Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, and then camp somewhere out there. The coast going out there is fucking insane, dude.
Yeah, I'm down, man. Yeah, it was like, again, it was just super, super angry. The coast just looked super angry. And like, it was wild. The closer you got to the coast, a lot of that area just got washed out with mudslides and stuff. So they were doing construction. So it's a 2-lane road already, and it went down to 1. So like they had stoplights, so you can only go like single file.
Fuck.
And, yeah, so there really wasn't anyone on it, which was like awesome for me.
Yeah.
And you're just, dude, everything's just switchbacks next to like a vertical drop.
So sketchy. That would terrify me, dude.
But dude, that's the thing. It's like it throws it gives you like vertigo because like you're trying to focus on what you're doing, but you want to watch, and then like watching like throws you off. But it was like, dude, it was awesome. You like coming down, and then like you're going, and it's like a 15-mile-an-hour turn, and you're just fucking hooking it, and then you're going up the mountain, and you're just constantly doing that back and forth and back and forth.
So you went up to Portland and then turned around and came back down the coast?
No, sorry, I got like way ahead of myself. But I did. So after I left Sam's, I hit the coast and then made my way up to Portland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But yeah. So I hit that. I did that. I camped one night at a KOA, and then another night I camped at like, all right, I got a hotel in just some shore town.
Yeah.
I can say never go through Eureka. Don't even stop. Total shithole, dude. It's like the meth capital. Oh, dude.
The meth capital?
Oh, man. It's like a meth triangle, apparently. Yeah, it's fucking wild. I was just like, I went there to go, because there was supposed to be like this cool building that I was like looking up, and I was like, oh, this thing looks awesome. I'm going to get pictures in front of it, whatever. And they converted it, and it was like a church, and there was nothing there. And I'm like, huh, okay. So I made like extra
Someone
time.
Someone should update this.
Yeah, dude, it was like, I'm like, all right, great. And then I
nothing here but a meth factory.
yeah. And I'm like, now I have so much further to go, and it's like getting dark. I'm like, oh, that sucks. So, do that, and then I made it pretty close to like that night after I stayed. I camped. I got a hotel, and then after the hotel, I made it pretty close to Oregon from there.
Yeah.
So then made my way into Portland, spent 3 nights in Portland, which again was pretty fun. Definitely some sketchy shit there. Portland's definitely like tent city, But once you like kind of figure out the vibe in there, you feel pretty comfortable. Like I hung out at a pretty cool bar. They were super awesome. Like I wound up hanging out with them, and the bartender's like, "You want to go see a metal show in the basement tonight?" I'm like, "Shit, I haven't seen a basement show in forever." Like, and it was like a local Portland band. And it's another band from like Oakland, and they're pretty cool, So they're actually, I was like technically following their tour path, which is kind of cool too. And then I'm just hanging out there, and I wound up meeting one of the dudes that's good friends with the guys from, was it Marathon Machine Works? Something like, I can't remember the exact. Pretty sure, but they're out of Oregon.
Okay.
So I think actually, Chicken Rick sells some of their stuff on his page. So it was like, dude rides a sick panhead. Just wound up hanging outside with him, just talking. Yeah, you just meet like so many cool people, just like hanging around. I don't know anybody. Just kind of just doing your thing, drinking, hanging out.
Yeah.
So, and then kept going. That's when Dustin hit me up and was like, "Hey, if you have time, come up. See what's going on." I'm like, "All right, sure." So went up to Washington. He was like probably half hour outside Tacoma. I want to say something like that, or Olympia. Maybe he was in Tacoma and he's outside Olympia. So hung out with him. Super cool dude. Wound up, hanging out with him for like an hour or two. I hit up the dudes from the Ton magazine. So
Sick.
Yeah. He was like,
Sick.
I met up with Tim. Tim was like super awesome. He's like, yeah, come up and I got a little bit of time. You want to hang out? I'll get you a coffee. And we just hung out at this like his friend's coffee shop who was building it. Like I guess they were partners or they were somehow affiliated. He was doing bike stuff at their old place that burned down, so now he's rebuilding it.
That's right.
Yeah, and he's doing awesome bike shit at this new coffee shop garage.
No shit.
Yeah. It was like, again, I just kept at it, like, oh, anyone want to hang out? Anyone around? And I kept like reaching out to people and wasn't afraid to reach out to people. And if people hit you up, awesome. If people don't, that's cool. No big deal. But it was awesome to see how many people actually reached out. And like I was able to meet so many different people that either I've just known from online or I've met, previously, and I got to see him. So, yeah, it's just cool to be able to do that. You know, and
Yeah, that's
the
super
podcast.
rad.
The podcast definitely linked a lot of people up, which was rad. You know,
yeah, that's cool as fuck.
Yeah, like Dustin hit me up because he's heard me on the podcast before, and he like you know,
Right.
and that's
Yeah,
that's
he's
awesome.
a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, super. We still text back and forth. So
He made the light on my Sporty, my tail light.
oh, really?
One off.
That's
buddy.
awesome.
Yeah,
Hell
he's
yeah.
a good. He's a real good guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. So yeah, from Washington, I started going towards Montana, and as soon as I kept going, I was going, you know, heading east, and I just got hit with like, I'm like, oh, okay, that's a rain, that's a storm. It's downpouring, fucking hail, you know, getting caught in hail.
Christ.
Like, and I wasn't in it for very long. Oh, it's just, you know, it's miserable. It's not great, you know.
It wasn't like the big
No.
hail.
No, this is like, you know, maybe dime-sized hail, but
But
it
even
was
rain
off and on.
hurts when you're on
Yeah,
a bike.
dime
dude.
size feels
Oh,
like
yeah.
it would be really painful.
Yeah, well, I switched out. Like I sent one. I brought 2 helmets with me, which which Charlie was busting my balls about. But you know, I wanted something that was a full face for a portion of my trip, and I wanted when I was out like in the desert, I wanted open face just so
Yeah.
I could experience a little bit more. But I sent my full face home when I was in San Diego, and I only had my open face, and like
Oh my god!
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
when you're getting hit with like shit, going 75,
That's crazy.
80 and rain.
I would have thought
and,
you would have
like,
sent the open face home.
Nah, I'm not smart.
Dude, so you were getting pelted by dime-sized hail in the face,
Yeah. You know,
and
but-
you still
Again,
look
it
as
wasn't-
good as me. You're still my doppelganger, even after getting fucked
yeah,
up
we
with
can
some
still
hail.
twin. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. And like
Rugged
again,
good
luckily it
looks.
was like, oh yeah. Well, luckily it was like, wasn't very long, but it was long enough to know that I'm like, yeah, this sucks.
Yeah.
But it's like, the one thing is you pull off anywhere and like everyone's just interested in what you're doing. They're
Yeah.
like, they're telling you their stories. They're telling you about
They're like,
places
yo,
that
dude,
you
why
should
you
go.
riding in the hail?
yeah.
Yeah, listen, I'm
Yeah.
from fucking the East Coast.
Yeah, really. Yeah. And that's like, that's the wild thing. It's like the whole time I'm like, oh, like, where are you from? Like New Jersey. I'm like, oh, New Jersey, that's fucking crazy. You're out here doing this. I'm like, yeah. And then like the closer you get from home, it's like, you're from where? New Jersey. Oh, that's not that far. I'm like, huh. I guess I lost that, that staple right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I know everybody must have been wanting to talk to you out in California with Jersey plate and shit.
Yeah. No, it was,
Like, what
it was
the
cool.
fuck?
Like,
Yeah. Do your fucking Sopranos impression.
Dude, I not even watched The Sopranos, honestly.
You never?
No, can't say I really have.
Fuck.
But yeah. So, and everything, it's crazy. Like everything out west is like super flooded. Every reservoir is super full. All the rivers are like just barely like road level, pretty much.
Why they got
like
so many fires then?
Dude, I don't know, because their forestry management sucks.
It's all fake. They're just like putting that shit on the news.
Yeah.
It's like these dumb East Coast guys will buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ain't got
Well, that's
those
like the thing
problems
is,
like
like-
that. Like those motherfuckers out there with the fucking tornadoes and the
No.
hail and the fucking droughts and the guys. Get on the East Coast,
Yeah.
boys.
Right?
Yeah, just get fucked with snow.
Yeah. And that's like the biggest thing is like so many people like, you weren't afraid to go to Mexico or you weren't this, you weren't that. I'm like, no, not really. Like the media definitely plays up like half the shit that you're
You're like,
like,
bud, I'm from Jersey. It's dangerous as fuck over there.
Yeah, you ever been to Newark? It's definitely like you get all the kinds of people just asking questions and shit. Like they never been there. Like, oh, wasn't that crazy or wasn't this? I'm like, yeah, everywhere kind of sucks in their own regard. Everything's
Yeah.
kind of sketchy. It's just you got to pay attention.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck. When I was going to Montana, Dustin was like, "Hey, just get heads up. Like buffalo their eyes don't reflect at night." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, if your headlights hit them, they don't reflect, so you won't see them." I'm like, "Oh,
Oof.
that's
the same
good."
with moose.
Yeah, I had no fucking idea.
Oh, is that
I don't have
real?
we don't have
Yeah.
any buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was actually when I got to Montana, the guy I was staying with, like my friend was like, yeah, he's like, last week a tractor trailer hit 10 moose or hit 10 buffalo crossing the road. Totaled the truck. Like they had to put most of them down. Like
Damn.
couldn't see them crossing the road. They just look like big black blobs at night,
Fuck.
You don't want to hit you don't want to hit those either.
Yeah, no, that would have
Don't
done
just
some
look for
damage.
shiny eyes, guys. If you see big black blobs, you might want to try to avoid those too. I
Hey,
mean,
fuck those blobs.
Yeah. Oh man.
So on the way home, did you have like any destinations? You just like, all right, now it's time to mosey on back home.
No, so like I went to my buddy, and my buddy in Montana, he a baker he once owned, but now he kind of, they're friends. He worked for him, and now he works for him again. They're selling my hot sauce in Montana.
I seen the
So
post
that was
you
like-
posted,
Oh, hell
yeah.
Yeah. So that was like kind of, I thought it'd be a fun little thing to make my way to Montana and like see the place where they were selling my stuff. So
Yeah.
I made my way out there, kind of showed face. They're making breakfast sandwiches, which is a weird concept for anyone on like Midwest or the West. They don't really have, they don't have Taylor egg and cheeses. They don't have breakfast sandwiches. They don't have kind
Do
of
they
the
have
same
the
shit we
shit
do.
breakfast sandwich? Because if not,
They did.
Missed out.
They
Do
did.
they?
Dude,
No
that's
shit.
what they were
Fuck,
making.
that's so dope.
So that's what I got. Yeah. So that's like, you want like your shit on the sandwich that we have? I'm like, hell yeah. Like, dude, they had a specialty sandwich for me. So I was like, that's
Dude,
awesome.
that's
They sell
so
that.
sick.
Ooh,
Yep.
wow.
That's so sick. Being in Montana and eating your hot sauce, that's
Yep.
dope.
Yeah. So I thought that was a cool little, I could not stop there. So I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And I also forgot that in Oregon is the only other state, because in New Jersey you can't pump your own gas. So that's the only other state that you can pump your own gas, or they won't let you pump your own gas, which totally fucked me up. Because like some woman's like, "You need help?" I'm like, "With what?" She's like, "Your gas." I'm like, "Oh no, I'm good, thanks though." Like totally threw me off.
Did she let you do it though?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's the same even in Jersey. Like they're not gonna, if you're on your bike, they're not gonna try to pump your gas for you usually. You know.
On the bike, but in the car, do they let
Oh,
you?
yeah.
I mean, in the car, they won't let you, right?
Yeah, they're not happy about it if you do it, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
the
can do
first time I
whatever.
went to Jersey to see Jerry, I stopped like once I got into Jersey to get gas. And the guy came over and was like, "How much?" And I was like, "Why are you coming over to the car?"
None
to
of your
ask that?"
fucking business.
Yeah. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna fill it. And he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay." And he just like starts opening my fucking tank, and I'm like, "I can do it." And he's like, "No." I'm like, "No, I can do it for real. Let me do it." And he's like, No. Like he didn't speak
it's
very good
illegal.
English, but
yeah.
I'm like, "Dude,
Yeah.
what the fuck?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
No,
even
it's-
know that it was like mandatory. I just like heard
Yeah.
it from somebody else.
Yeah, only 2 states. So
I'm like, dude, that's
Well,
fucking
wow.
weird.
we used to. That was one of my first jobs when I was like 16. I used to be a gas attendant in New Hampshire.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
Same.
and it would be a blizzard, and I'd fucking wash your windows. I'd check your oil. I'd fucking the whole shit, dude.
Yeah.
handies and
I used to
everything.
get banger tips when I did that.
Oh
too.
yeah, dude. People would tip you.
Yeah.
That was back when gas was affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They had
yeah.
extra money. Now it's like $5 a fucking gallon. They're like, I don't want you. I can't afford tip too, dude. That's the other thing. Yeah, do you have to tip them, right?
I mean, yeah, you don't not.
So
like
everybody's complaining
regular
about
people.
the price of gas, and then you have to tip these motherfuckers in those 2 states too. So how much does
Yeah.
gas cost a gallon on average, dude?
Yeah,
You guys are probably
Well,
paying more than anybody.
Dude, it was like, I had to say it was like crazy. Not like California was pretty wild. It was like anywhere from like $5 and change to $6. But, like,
Fuck.
There was a couple spots on like the coast where like they definitely knew that they were like the only game in town. And it was like $7 and change for gas, and I'm like, yeah, I underestimated how much money, because like every time I filled up was like 20 fucking bucks, and I'm going a couple 100 miles, so that's like $100 in fuel a day,
Yeah.
if not more.
Oh,
And
that's
I'm like,
yeah.
that shit adds up
You're
quick.
like, I'm on a motorcycle.
yeah, dude. Yeah, it's just like shit you don't realize. But like, I was like, all right, fuck it. I'll figure this shit out later. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna enjoy it. Just gonna go for it.
Just pump and jump. Fuck them. They're never gonna catch
yeah,
you.
that's it. Yeah, good luck.
Catch me in Jersey,
Actually,
motherfucker.
I only got one easy passer, like toll ticket from Colorado, which I don't even know how I got that one. But I was like, I thought California was gonna fuck me because I was in like all the wrong lanes, because they got a bunch of different, like they got electric lanes. They got like, if you got more than 2 people in your lane, the POV lanes. I'm like, what the fuck? HOV, whatever the fuck it is, like wild. But
Fuck.
only one ticket, so that was good in the mail. But yeah, went through after I got breakfast. I went through Yellowstone, like the outskirts of Yellowstone National Park. There's like 8 million national forests, which I didn't even realize too, because I pretty much just kept riding through them. Like, there's national forest here, national forest there, like all over the place,
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just like wild to see like so many different things that you've never even like experienced before. And I've been to a lot of these places in a car and stuff like that, but it's a totally different experience riding through all these places. Like, when I was going to like Portland, I went up, started pretty much at the bottom of Mount Hood and rode all the way up Mount Hood. And, started like it was, I don't know, still, it was like May and middle of May, and it was like freezing at the top. And then you come down and it's starting to warm up again, but like, the trees, like the mountain is just so vast, and the trees are literally as high as the sky, and you feel like so small. You're just like looking at all this stuff, and you're like, wow, this is just like, you can't comprehend. And you're like trying to look at this and ride, you're just like all fucked up. You're like getting vertigo. You're just like, oh my, because you just feel so like off balance because you're so small in this situation, And there was like, that's the biggest thing between here, like out west and the East Coast, is that there's a few places that I'm sure that you feel like small like that, but not nearly as many as out west. Like, there's so many, the vastness of the places out west are just, so much different than here.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a trip. But yeah, after Montana, headed through, where is it? Montana, I went to Utah. So I hit Four Corners, which was like
nice.
$8, and you get to take a picture at the Four Corners. So that's what it is.
They charge you to take a picture?
yeah, it's $8 to get in.
That's fucked.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's all like Native American land, so it's just
literally
like,
anything to make some cash, dude.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Oh, man.
But it's like, I'm not going to not do that shit.
You got to. Yeah.
It's worth the $8.
So, yeah. Oh, definitely. And then...
it's a weird number, though. Why not like 10?
Yeah, it's...
Just a nice 10.
Well, they're waiting for inflation, They know it's coming. They're going to start, reasonable, and they're going to keep it.
Next time you go back, it'll be $9.50.
yeah.
It's like not going to be a deal fucking breaker. Like, nah, I do 8, but 10. What, are you out of your mind, dude?
Yeah. Can you break my 10? I need change.
Yeah, and then they have to have they have to carry change because everybody's going to be giving them a 10 or a 20.
Yep. So, I'm trying. I gotta see. That's the thing. It's like I'm terrible with the map too, so I got to look back and see exactly where I came and went through.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went through Idaho, went through Utah, went to the Salt Flats, which is flooded. So you could kind of, I put my bike on the spots that weren't dry, but I was like, I'm not riding through all this shit because it was like the most concentrated amount of salt you could ever imagine in your life. It's like ridiculous, but it was really cool. But unfortunately, where I was at the fiance's sister's house in Salt Lake City. So from there, it's like an hour and 40 minutes in the wrong direction. So I go an hour and 40 minutes and it's just like 80 and there's nothing out that way. And then you have to go the same road back to go to
shit.
So I backtrack once again. Yep.
Yeah.
So then I went to the Four Corners and then I was making my way through New Mexico. And New Mexico is like an interesting state. It's definitely got a lot of different environments there. And the weather is just like ridiculous. Like I've been there for work and there's been like 100-mile-an-hour gusts blowing trains off of bridges, like tractor trailers are flipping over. Yeah. Like just absolutely ridiculous weather. And then it's like, you're watching these storm systems roll in and like, you can't go anywhere. You're like, well, I got to go there. And there's no way for me to get there without rolling through this fucking thing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to check out like Skinwalker Ranch, right? Which was in Utah, but it was like kind of on the border. And dude, just like the weather rolling in, it's just like nuts. You I'm riding through a rainstorm to go there, check things out, and then riding back through just because it's like, there's a lot of things that you can't make sense of the past. So you want to travel if you want to hit, certain things. But again, it's like, I want to do these things because I'm on vacation. Like, yes, I still have thousands of miles to travel, but I'm doing this to experience the things that I've wanted to experience,
Right.
And it's just like one of those things because you get so in the mindset of just, okay, like I got to do X, Y, and Z. I got time frames to do them just in life. Like you're like, oh, I got to, go to work. I got to do this. I got to do that. You're so like, it's ingrained in you and you can't, like, it's hard to break it. So I kept having to just tell myself, like, take a break, just let yourself enjoy the moment. If you want to do something, do something. Like, don't be like, oh, I got to rush to get to this place or I got to do that. Like, just let it flow. And it sunk in after like a while, but it's hard to like unprogram yourself and like just not be, controlled by your normal processing. So it's definitely, definitely took a minute. But actually rolling through, that's the storm system. So rolling through New Mexico, I was trying to get, because I went through like, I'm trying to think where the hell was I? I can't remember where I was, but I found out there's a Las Vegas, New Mexico, which I had no idea, which is like, I'm like seeing signs for Las Vegas. I'm like, I know we're not that close.
Am I backtracking again?
Like, what the hell? Yeah, I'm like, what's going on, dude? But I'm trying to get to this place called Santa Rosa, and like, because that's the only place I could find that I could like stay in. And I'm just watching. It's like pretty nice. It's a beautiful sunset, open roads, like nothing's going on. And I'm just watching this fucking storm system roll in. And this thing is like, we don't have like, you've seen storms, we have so much like foliage and trees. Like you really can't see the vastness of most storms. You look up and you see it's all cloudy and shit, but you don't see like where the storm system starts. Well, it's flat, where I'm at. And it's just like from the ground, like as high as you can see, these clouds are just like fucking huge. And then it's just like that lightning that's just in the clouds, just going nonstop.
Yeah, you're like, fuck.
Yeah. And I'm like, having a good time. It's like, I'm like, oh, I'm inching towards this thing. But I'm like, this beautiful sunset, road's great, temperature's perfect, and I'm rolling into this thing. I'm like, fuck, like, okay. And it's getting dark. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting close. And I'm watching like the sunset hit the clouds and just the clouds are turning red and all these cool colors. And then it's like, oh, I'm in this storm now. And there's like tornado warnings and shit. And I'm like, well, I've never been through a tornado. Okay, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm just like rolling through this storm system. I don't even I'm not stopping. I got to get there. I'm like an hour away from where I got to stay for the night. And I'm just rolling through and starts raining. I'm like, I don't even I had like a visor on. It's like, it's a dark shield. I'm like, fuck it. I don't even care. Rolling through, can't see anything, going for it. And like tractor trailers are passing me, I'm trying to maintain speed, but I'm like going like 50 or 60 and like at like 80 mile an hour speeds. And I'm like, fuck, rain's hitting me. All of a sudden I'm cruising. I'm like holding on for dear life. It's windy. I'm picking up. I'm like, oh, fuck. Holding on. Dude, this fucking bug hits me. It's like the size of my fist. Like hits me like right in like the nose, mouth area and just explodes all over my face. And I'm like, I'm not, fuck this. I'm not stopping. I'm like breathing in this bug. It's the most disgusting bug. Like the smell is just in my nose, like in my mouth. And I'm like, I can't stop. I'm just like, fuck. So for the next 40 minutes, I'm just inhaling this fucking giant bug. Like, but it's like, it's all these stupid little things. It's like, you're miserable in the moment. And then you look back and you're like, that was so fucking stupid, but so funny and like so fun at the same time, So it just
did you ever figure out what kind of bug it was?
No, I had no clue. That thing fucking exploded to a million pieces. Just gone. Just all in me. Just everywhere. Like ridiculous, dude. And again, I just get to like another town that's kind of like sketchy and just a lot of like interesting, weird people there. And I'm like, okay. Nothing's like, no hotels had any vacancies. I find like one shitty motel. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. I need to stay somewhere. It's fine.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing too. Like I was hoping to I was hoping to do some more camping, or I thought I'd be camping more and like, just doing different things. But when you're riding all day, you don't realize like how abused you are, like how much abuse you're doing to your body. So like,
yeah, dude, the wind kills me.
Oh yeah, and like, dude, and it's like we have wind and shit here, but like when there's no blockers of any sort, like I had a little fairing on my bike, so it was like not bad. It was a little bit better, but like it's not a heavy bike. With all my shit on it was heavy, but
yeah,
I'm not riding a full bagger. Like I'm watching guys going down the road and they're like, feet are on their fucking crash bars, hanging out, having a good time. And I'm like going in every lane, trying to hold on for dear life. And I'm like, am I just a pussy? Like, what's going on? These guys are like just cruising. And I'm like, dude,
They're used to it.
I'm thinking, God, they're used to it. Their bikes are bigger, and maybe I am just a pussy. I don't know, but dude, oh, it's so funny. It's like you just get in your head. You're like, why is everyone seem like they're doing fine? And I'm like, this is the most like I'm just like,
This is so stressful.
Yeah, and like I couldn't even when I was coming through Kansas. I'm trying to figure. I'm like, I speed up, it still get fucked up. I slow down, it's still killing me. I'm like trying to find the happy medium where I can hit this and like be fine, but like sometimes you're just like not gonna have it. I'm like when I was hitting that wind in Kansas, it was a 75-mile-an-hour speed limit. I was doing 35, and I was still like nervous as hell, just trying to make it through, you know. But it's like all that stuff. You just like. You never think about it. Like you kind of in the back of your head, like, oh, I might hit some of this, I might hit some of that. But like, until you're experiencing it, like you just don't realize how like intense it can be or like what it's like, you know?
Nice shot.
And again, it was like, it definitely kicked the shit out of me, you know, but it was worth it. You know, it's just an experience that I've never had before.
Yeah.
You know? And the closer you get to home, things, you start thinking about things differently, and you're just like in your head a lot, you know, your head's going a mile a minute of all your thoughts. Like, you know, okay, when I get home, I got to do this. You start getting back into like,
right.
You know, life things, which kind of like, you know, it sucks. Like you've been on the road for a while. You don't want to think, you don't want to go back to thinking. You're just coasting. You're just having your life experience. And then the closer you get to home, you start thinking of that stuff, you know. Trying to think where I was. So after Utah and after New Mexico, went through, where was it? Amarillo, Texas. Went to Cadillac Ranch because I passed it a million times on Highway 40. Never stopped. So I was like, all right, stopping. So that was kind of cool. Again, super flooded. Like people were there in like fucking, you know, high gaiters and boots and everything like that, wading like through all the water and mud and stuff like that, you know. It's just weird. Like you look on the sides of the roads and like everything is just to the brim filled with water. And it's like, wow. Like I had people in San Diego, like I was talking to, they're like, yeah, it's been like 30 days of no sun. It's just been cloudy as hell, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just things you don't like.
I know that fucking feeling all too well.
Yeah. No,
Fuck,
it's just,
dude.
you know, right? I know we've been getting hit recently with nonstop rain.
Dude, crazy.
Nuts,
I think
you know?
I'm
there
stuck
like
in
everywhere
a
in the
Forrest Gump
country.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere in the country is
Well, it's
just
nuts,
like
like-
bitching.
Yeah, it's nuts because like when I left for my trip, we had 2 days of nonstop rain, and then it didn't rain back home at all until I came home. Like it was the most ridiculous. I'm like, really? Yeah, but you know, again, the weather's crazy. So, but yeah, they started making my trek back home. Just I went a little bit more of a southern route. I wanted to go a little bit more south, but again, it's time to miles and what you're, you know, if I had more time, I would have done it. But,
Right.
you know, it's hard to really, I didn't really plan out any of my stops. So it's like you know, you either have to crush miles or you have to extend your time. Because
I guess were you just kind of going day by day? So like when you woke up in the morning where you're like, oh, I kind of want to get to this place, or like, I mean, I know you had like a loose thing, but like,
yep.
Especially on the way back, you just kind of do it day by day, depending. And did the weather even factor in? Were you like, hey, if I go a little bit further north or whatever?
No, I mean, like there was a point in time where I kind of was thinking about weather factors, but then after a while, you just stop. You're just like, if it's raining out, if it's windy, like I'm just going for it. Like it doesn't matter. Like, you know, I was leaving New Mexico. And I'm talking to some dude at a gas station. And he's telling me about the time that his tractor trailer got struck by lightning and all of his tires blew out and his electronics, you know, blew out, but the truck was still running because it's a diesel, you know. And I'm like, cool, I'm going through this fucking storm system right now. And that's what I'm thinking about is like, if I get struck by lightning, what the fuck's going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
You wish
it's
you
like
didn't,
things you don't think about. Like,
you didn't wear your helmet with the little spike on top.
Yeah.
Why did I not send that helmet home?
Right? I couldn't tell you how many times I'm like, I pull over somewhere and like the weather's shitty or something's happening, and like someone tells me this like death story of like their brother's cousin so and so died on a motorcycle, and I'm like, yeah, I appreciate you telling me the story
Yeah,
now.
you
It
look
really
just
helps
like
me
you.
out.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
the fuck?
I'm
dude?
like,
Thanks.
yeah, dude, like nonstop. But yeah, I mean, weather just stopped being, you just whatever it is, you're just at that point, you're just going for it.
Yeah.
I had gear with me, I dress appropriately for the most part. And that's the other thing too. It's like, I remember going through some places and like, it'd be nonstop rain for a little while. And I kept going through that. You ride through the storm system and then it's like fine and you dry off. Like it's not even worth putting on rain gear. You get soaked,
Yeah.
Like the one thing that sucked is like, I realized that I had like waterproof boots on and they were awesome. But if I wasn't wearing my rain gear and they didn't go past my boots, my jeans would get wet, which would just go right into my socks, right into my boots. So it didn't matter if they were waterproof or not,
Did you wear those birthing gloves the entire time? And do you still have them? Are you going to use them for other things now that you're home?
Oh, I still have them. I mean, there's always a possibility you use them. I bought them. I'm not just going to waste them, right?
Yeah. Okay. If somebody in Jersey needs to have a cat.
How high are birthing gloves? Yeah, like,
I mean,
are they
these
elbow?
these ones were like mid forearm.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
They weren't like
You
crazy.
can get all up in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Get pretty deep.
I literally only wore them maybe like one other time after that, But again, in a pinch, I was just like, I needed something that worked.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, actually. The birthing gloves.
The cool thing is, like, once you have like grandchildren someday, you're like, see these gloves right here, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like I've tried to like capture like just with pictures or just things, mementos that I've gathered from like my trip. I want to make like a photo album and just like I've taken a million pictures, but I've never made a specific album for anything. And this is just going to be of my trip.
Yeah. I keep saying I want to do that because same thing. I always take a fuckload of pictures and I put them on Instagram or Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But like, dude, back in the day, I remember it was dope with like your cousins would come over and you like rip out the fucking photo albums. You're like talking shit about all the pictures. It's like nobody does that anymore.
Make a
and like all the shit that I've done since I've been like deep into like the chopper fucking culture.
Mm-hmm.
It would be so sick to have a photo album of that.
Oh, for sure, man. Oh, it's like, and that's like, I don't know. It's one of those things like it might not be something that you or anyone appreciates right now.
Right.
But like one day looking back, because I know like I look through some shit that I have from like my parents or whatever. And like, I'm super stoked that I have that.
Yeah.
And especially because like motorcycles, like you look at all these like old time pictures that like a lot of people have. And it's like sick that they have all that shit capturing like the time period and everything that was going on. And like, it's weird to think that this, our lifetime is still like, especially because we're into choppers and things like that, that you taking old machines and you're making them relevant again. Like that still will be cool looking back from like a time period, it's weird to think about, but looking back to have that stuff or have like, a Polaroid of you pulling your motor or like this picture of that, like that'll be cool one day to show your kids or to show like their kids to show their kid,
Right.
So to me, like, I'm not going to go, oh, look at this picture I got on Instagram to like my grandkids or like my kids one day,
Yeah,
but
follow me on Instagram. You can see what I did with my life.
Yeah. You know what though? That's a different, because I remember this from like Deadbeat, because you're a photographer and you had like, you think that way. You're like, this is actually going to be cool. And after we took that ride, you were the one that was like, let's get some pictures. And it's like, I would have never had a picture of that moment, like when we were all up on that mountain with me, you, Parker, Ray, Grease. That wouldn't have never happened unless someone was like, hey, we should probably document it. It's so nice to have someone that's like, dude, I got a Polaroid, I got this other picture, let's take, like we had like 3 different formats taken, and it's just so nice to be able to have that moment that you can look back at, like, so cool.
I actually just looked at that picture the other day with all of us on the top of the mountain.
Me, Grease, Ryno, and Dan have been trying to get a group picture of the fucking 4 of us for over 1 year. It's been over a year. We're always like, hey, next time we're together, let's get that fucking shot.
Yeah.
We never get it, dude. We were
Well,
just
we've
all
been
together
talking about
fucking
it, yeah.
2 days ago and
Yeah.
still don't have that picture.
And we were talking about it. We're like, yeah, we should definitely get that picture.
Dude, next time you're with, like, whatever you go out, you got to find one person, like, this is happening now. Have them take the picture.
Yeah.
You just got to do it.
It's just crazy, dude.
Yeah. And that's like, it's a toss up. Like, I did take a lot of pictures on my trip, and like, I took a lot while riding, and I got like a lot of, like, I still got one I'm waiting to come back to from being developed, but like, you know, I wanted to get, you know, different angles and stuff. And I give it like props to anyone that takes pictures while riding, because it's like, it's a fucking challenge, especially if you don't have
Are you
cruise
doing
control.
digital or are you doing film on this trip?
I only do film. I don't do
only
anything
do
digital.
film.
I mean,
okay, no shit.
I mean, I'll take pictures on my camera just in case, because like, you know, you don't know if shit's gonna come out or not. I don't want to totally lose out on what I have, but I only do, you know, analog stuff. So,
oh wow.
and mostly like I had like, you know, I have 110 cameras, which are little pocket cameras, you know, and that's hard. Like I had to send it out to, I don't even know where I sent this film out because it's black and white and no one does it. It's a little reel film.
Yeah.
Polaroids. I actually took a lot of cool Polaroids, which I got to post and get out there. But, yeah, I know. I'm just looking forward to putting this album together, because it'll be a cool coffee table book, something to look through. You know, just like this is a specific trip, a specific time, and like it's hard for me to remember shit in general, but like being able to see it, like it jogs me and like, oh, I remember when I was doing this, and then I went to there, and then I did this. Like to me, that's an easier way to tell the story than like trying to remember it verbatim, you know, because I just get lost in like the things that I'm trying to remember. I'm like, well, when did that happen? Who was I with? Like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like, it's cool to do it because like you said, like not a lot of people capture that for any, like, you know, that you don't have it, you know? And it's like, I'm not really a photographer. I just like, whether I get the shot or not, I just like to take pictures, you know? So it's just, you know, it's just a different aspect of, you know, capturing life. But at the same token, you know, there's a lot of times where I would want to take a picture, but I'm like, no, this one's for me. Like,
right.
You have to just remember that experience for yourself. Like I was coming through, I was going through Washington, I think heading towards Montana or maybe it was even Idaho, but like I'm coming up this mountain and it goes up to like flat plains. And it's literally like, you remember Courage the Cowardly Dog by any chance? That Nickelodeon show. And it's like the weirdest little farmhouse in the middle of fucking nowhere. And it's just like sun setting behind me, you know, there's beautiful blue skies like in front of me. And then there's just like, I passed these fields and they were the most neon yellow. I think they're mustard seed plants, but like I've never even seen these things. And it was such a crazy contrast of colors that I can't even like describe it like 100% to anyone. It's like, I just have that vivid picture in my head.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't take a picture of it, but like, that's something I'll never forget, you know?
Yeah.
And it's
Dude,
cool. Like,
I've been like on that same train of thought lately of like, because before, like if you look at like my Instagram last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was posting fucking daily of like pictures of like shit I was doing. And if you look at it from this past year, dude, I've posted probably 10 times. And it's just like, even like when we just did like the fireworks, 4th of July and all that, usually I'm like taking pics of the fireworks and like, dude, now I'm just like, I don't want to bring my phone out and like take the pictures of this shit. Like, I just want to like take this and I don't want to look at it through a screen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, it's just like, again, it's like, it's hard not to want to like capture the moment, but at the same time, it's like, because you'll never be able to show that. Like, I'll never be able to show you what I saw.
Right.
You know, like the thing I just described to you, that's the best you're going to get of understanding, unless I took you there and showed you it.
Right.
You know, but at the same time, like the experience of just living it it's just
cool as fuck.
Yeah, it is.
It's
cool.
a balance.
It's like maybe, and like, it is a balance, you know, because it's like some things should be recorded and some things should.
You just want to enjoy it and soak it in. And other times it's like, especially like, you know, when there's like homies that pass or whatever, or like, you know, or family members or whatever. And it's like, man, I wish I took a fucking picture of that time that we did the thing, you know, like, but you still got that image in your head. But it's like, it's a balance. Or if you have kids or whatever, it's like, I want to pull out my camera and take fucking pictures of them all goddamn day. But at the same time, you just want to just experience it. And it's like,
you want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, And like, like there was a lot of times, like my whole trip, I kind of tried to document it because a lot of people just kept hitting me up like, dude, like I love following you. And I'm not trying to do it. Like I did it for myself, but at the same time, like I do understand that like there are so many people that like will never be able to do something that I've done.
Yeah.
Right.
And like,
well, the cool thing was too is like I've been talking about it for like a couple of years now that I want to start, not anytime soon, but like within the next like 5 to 10 years, I want to do that trip.
Yep.
So it's like cool, like when like you got like my homies do it, and then like you documented it pretty well on Instagram. Like when you were at the coffee shop, I was like, "Fucking sick, dude! Like what the fuck?"
Yeah.
It was rad as fuck the way you documented it.
Yeah,
it was
and
cool.
like I tried, and like I had plans to do different things and stuff like that, but at the same time, I'm just like, you just get beat up and you're tired, and you're like, you know what? I think like doing this the best I can is going to have to be good enough.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing was like you weren't doing it like every time you stopped, you weren't like throwing a picture up. So like I would see you like at the coffee shop or whatever, or like in San Francisco, and like I wouldn't see anything the next day or like the day after, and I'm like, dude, I want to know where the fuck he's at, bro.
Yeah. Oh, and it's funny because like, dude, there are so many places where like I didn't have cell service and I couldn't like, I'm like, all right,
yeah, that's
and
true
it's just
too.
like, I mean, dude, there's so many places where I'm like trying to even find directions to figure out because I just use my phone for directions as much as I wanted to like. Be so efficient. Like I had a map with me too, but I'm like, it's just so easy to use my phone.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, like, okay, I feel like posting some shit today, or like I'm here. Like I went to the last Blockbuster, which was like one of my staples. I wanted to go to there. And like, it was such an interesting experience, but I was like happy to take pictures
Where
of
is
that place to
that?
show people. Bend, Oregon.
Oh, it's in Oregon. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I miss
even
those
like crossing
motherfuckers.
over like the San Francisco Bridge and stuff like that. That was like something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Or the Golden State Bridge, whatever. The Golden Gate Bridge.
it was super cool watching it, man. It was really cool.
And that's the thing. It's like I do like I respect like that people just appreciate it, but they're not either financially able to do it or don't have the time to do it, or they have their life is too crazy, and like that's kind of like the best they're going to be able to do right now. And they're like, they're like so stoked to see it. And like, I'm not looking to get anything from that. I'm just happy that they're enjoying what I'm doing. And I can like, they're like living through me in a way. And that makes them happy. And like, I'm just happy that they can experience that. And they took that from what I did.
The coolest thing is like the more of like the homies that do that trip, and it seems like more and more homies are doing that trip. It makes me want to do it more and more every time I see one of you guys out there like posting the pictures and then like getting you guys on the show and hearing the story. I'm like, fuck, dude, I gotta make this happen.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's once, I'm not going to say it's like a once in a lifetime thing, but it's definitely like
might be
a once in a lifetime experience, and every time's going to be different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the furthest I've ever been, on a trip. And before that, like it was just all these different experiences. And this is like a totally different experience, but it's one of those things like you do it and you're like, everything else seems extremely doable.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's almost no excuse, like why you couldn't do something. Like, the fiance wanted to go to Laconia, like right when I got back. And I'm like, I don't fucking feel like getting back on my bike, but I'm like, that's 100th Laconia.
You're like, it's only fucking 300 miles. What the fuck, dude?
That's it. But I'm like, I look, blink of an eye, we're in Vermont already, and I'm like, wow, we're fucking booking. Like,
you're like, this is tit.
Yeah,
I'll do this twice today.
And that's what it is, man. It's crazy because like you start doing, okay, it's like the gas tank thing when you're talking to Florida man.
Yeah.
It's like how many gas tanks can I get per, how many hours? Okay, it's 5 gas tanks away or gas stops away. Like, you do start equating things in different ways to make sense of it.
Yeah.
And it just becomes more obtainable. You're like, okay, I got this. Like I went from Nashville to Long John Choppers in Lancaster.
Yeah.
And that was like that was 800 miles in a day. And I got there, I think I left at like 6 or 7 and I got there around like 5 or 6. And like, I still could have put in more, more miles. I could have made it home that day. But I was like, nah. Homie wants to hang out. Like I want to see him. He's like the first, person really like that close to home that I've seen. So it's, it's fun. And then people just come, we have shit to talk about and you're just enjoying like seeing people again,
Right. Yeah. That's how I felt like when I used to ride with that club. I would like average 12 to 13,000 miles a summer.
Yeah.
And, dude, and like when I was doing that, I could literally ride anywhere and it did not bother me. Like one of the other chapters in Akron, Ohio was like, hey, we're doing a thing this weekend. And I'm like, sick, see you there. Fucking just straight out, like it was nothing.
Yeah.
I haven't done that in a long fucking time. I'll be honest. I haven't done 14,000 miles in the summer in a while.
Yeah.
But I do miss it though, man. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just like, it made me realize because I had like started getting so wrapped up in just like work and life and just, the business and just doing shit. I realized that like because I never viewed riding as, like a hobby. It was always like motor transportation. It was something like, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just a weekend warrior or this or that. And like, I started to become more of like the weekend warrior. Like I would take my truck to work or I do this or I do that just because I'm like, oh, I got to do this or I got to do that. Like I don't have time to ride or I can't do like, I got to pick shit up after work. So I'm not going to take the bike today. But I'm like getting back out on the road. It was like, yeah, I should be taking my bike more. I should be using this for transportation and not just for, like a little like vacation
leisure,
vehicle.
Yeah.
And like it
that
really,
was. Go ahead.
no, I just revitalized my like, love of motorcycles and like the appreciation of motorcycles,
Yeah. I was just talking to my wife about probably 2 days ago about like the whole job shit I was just telling you about before we got on the air.
Yeah.
And one of like the things that like stood out in my mind where I was like, this just isn't fucking working is like, I can count how many times I've been on my bike. And it's fucking July, dude.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm just working so much and like, and then like with the other shit I was telling you about like being somebody I'm not all fucking day. And like, it's got to the point now where I'm like, it just doesn't make sense, man. Like, I'm not riding my fucking bike. You know what I mean? That's what I know. Like shit's gone in the wrong direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I got to figure that out.
Oh, for sure, man. Like when you stop doing things that you once enjoyed, like, yeah, it's time to reevaluate the situation and like, you know, take it back. And that's the thing. It's like it's always easy to do. Like it's always like the easiest path is to do something of least resistance. So if it's like, oh, I don't have to, start my bike or do this, or I can just hop in the truck, get up and go. Like when I was on my trip, like the only mode of transportation I had was my bike. So if I was like, I can't tell you, I got back to the hotel and I'm like, I'm hungry. I want to like eat something. Well, I got to go. And like, I wasn't like, at that point, I'm just going to get fast food. Well, I don't really have nowhere to put this shit. So I'm like stuffing it in my, in my handlebars or right in my fairing. I've got like White Castle hanging out of my fairing going down the fucking road.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, would it be more convenient if I could like, get my car and like get it at the drive-thru? Because nothing's open. I tried to go inside of all these places and I'm like, oh, I have to take my bike through the drive-thru? Okay, fine. Like whatever.
Sick.
Yeah. But like when your only mode of transportation is your bike, like you're like okay with it. You're like, oh yeah. No, this is cool. Like this is it. This makes sense to me now.
Yep.
And and like being home, like I've almost gotten back into the routine of like not riding as much, but like I'm like, oh yeah, I just did that thing. I should probably keep continuing on with that thing because I was really happy when I was doing it.
Right.
Because I wasn't wrapped up in like everything about work or like I was like free and I felt good. And even if I know we all have responsibilities, but like you can still find that balance,
Yeah.
And like you just have to like stick to it. And like one day, like I would say there's definitely an experience to a modern bike to an older bike or a chopper or like whatever. And like, but you also have to be, because the whole time, like after I left Mexico, I'm like, fuck, man, I really wish I was riding a chopper and like seeing like Connor come down and Shovel Sam riding his like janky, crazy ass shovel with his crazy, silly, foot clutch and everything like that. And like looking at, Connor riding his old bikes and stuff like that. It's like, shit, like, that looks so much more fun in like certain ways. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I love cruising and like going fast and being nimble and like doing all this shit on my bike. Cause it definitely no issues. Like I had a couple, times I had to clean my air filter out and shit like that. But like, no issues on my whole trip really.
Right.
But
and that's the huge difference. Is like on the newer bike, you can get on the highway, you can rip. You know what I mean? You're not worrying about shit. On a chopper, it's like, fuck, dude, I don't know if I can ride the highway for fucking 600 miles. This thing will fall apart.
I went on the highway and it broke my bike.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
was
dude.
good for 100 miles. I hop on the highway for 3 exits and it fucking dies.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing though. It's like, and that's where it comes back to like time, money, all the things. Like if I had, like, I wish I had, you know, like like an unlimited amount of time. If I was like, oh, you can take off for 6 months, or I was just doing my own thing, and like I could leave for 6 months and go do something. Like, who cares if I'm broken down for like a week or two and getting parts and
Right.
fixing shit? That's part of the story. But like most people don't have that time because it's like if I want to go see shit or do stuff, I need to make sure I can get there, I can get back, I can do all this stuff, and like having a modern bike, you worry a lot less. Like there's always shit that could break. Like my mirror, I don't even have a little. I make my own. I made my own little mirror, and just the way that I threw it together really quick, it fucking flew off during a rainstorm, and somehow I caught it, and I fixed it from like just super gluing it back together at Tractor Supply. Yeah, and thank God I did because that little mirror saved my ass plenty of times.
This episode is brought to you by Tractor Supply.
Dude, for real.
And Ass Blasters Hot Sauce, our newest sponsor, the official sponsor of the Low Life Chopper podcast. By the way, my lips didn't feel okay for like 57 minutes. I was just like,
that's amazing.
The first half of the show, I was just like, but before we get any further along, we're already at 2 hours. We're going to have you back on because before the show, we talked about like 70 different topics that we wanted to get to. And we didn't get the shit, dude. We're fucking failures.
I know. 35 days, man. There's a lot of interesting stories, and I probably didn't even top half of them,
Yeah. We're going to have you back on because there's so much more going on with Stay Strong Co. And the official hot sauce. Now, Stay Strong Co. is not the official hot sauce. He's just a guest, but Ass Blasters hot sauce.
Where are you getting this hot sauce?
Yeah.
I just grabbed it out of the fridge, but dude, it is fucking hot. It's too hot. It's not even fun to eat. Stay Strong Co.
I don't like hot sauce like that,
dude. The shit is good because it's all tasty. It's tasty.
That's it.
It's thick.
Flavor, man.
I'm like honestly like not because like you're on. I've told you this before.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like a crackhead for that hot sauce. I will like. Instead of like, like most people like drizzle it on some shit.
Yeah.
When like we're eating steak, I just take the jar and I'm like dipping it in the jar, dipping chips in it. Fuck, that shit is good, man.
I appreciate it, man. Again, like anyone can make shit hot. You gotta have the flavor. You gotta make shit.
Well, that's why I
flavorful.
like that one, especially like you've done a couple different flavors too.
Yep.
But I always like yours because it's like you get that heat, but then you get like the sweetness with it.
Mm-hmm.
The sweet,
I love it. Yeah, you cook it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You can dip, you can dunk, you can scoop.
Yep. Yeah, you can do anything with it. Yeah, it's good on everything. You can.
I tell you what,
with it.
making chicken wings with it is
chicken wings.
So
buddy.
Good.
Yeah,
because it like glazes it at the same time, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's fucking insane. It's so good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. All right, let me just run through the rest of these sponsors while we're just fucking already doing this.
Yeah.
We got Dan at No Luck Paintworks fucking spraying his magic all over any fucking bike you want, especially Dynabro Paint Shop. She loves that shit. No, but seriously, hit up Dan at No Luck Paintworks. He is going. I know he always says the books are closed. He's a fucking liar. Hit him up if you need your bike painted. If you're doing a build, and you need to get that shit painted this winter, get on the books now because they're going to fill up. Your boy is one of the spots on that fucking list. So lock in your fucking paint time. This Dan's ass. Lock in your appointment with Dan at No Luck Paintworks on Instagram. Up next, we got chopshit.com, the infamous Mexican chicken, long dick Rick.
El pollo loco.
Slinging everybody's parts from across the country. Like John said, Rick is at every fucking show in this country. I don't even know how he does it, but he's fucking everywhere. He's like, where's Waldo? So go check him out, chopshit.com or Chicken Fried Choppers on Instagram. Next, we got Deadbeat Customs, the creator of the Deadbeat Retreat, where all of us go to fucking die. Hit up deadbeatcustoms.com. They get a little bit of everything for everyone. And check them out on YouTube at Deadbeat Customs everywhere. Next we got I'm fucking sucking at the reads tonight.
Yeah, what the fuck? Too many Pepsis, bro.
Too many Pepsis, dude. I'm fucking caffeine drunk, bro. Up next we got Lowbrow Customs. Tyler and his team are fucking top-notch customer service. They get their parts shipped out faster than fucking Amazon. So get over to Lowbrow Customs, the only website where you can build an entire fucking bike from their catalog. Up next, we got Steel City Blacksmithing. He is twisting everything fucking metal. That hammer is a giveaway for this fucking month. You can win Thor's hammer. You can get some dope-ass invaders that'll set you apart at every fucking chopper show. He's got pegs, handlebars, whatever the fuck you want. Hit him up, Steel City Blacksmithing on Instagram. And last but not least, Stay Strong Co. We'll give you a proper one here. Jon-Luke, the creator of the official fucking hot sauce for Low Life Chopper podcast.
It's going in the garbage.
That's right.
John, give us a quick list of the other stuff you do, because I've been to your booth before in Jersey, and there's way more than just hot sauce.
Oh, yeah. We do a little bit of everything here. So, custom jackets, got home decor.
Those jackets are sick. Like the hoodie jacket, those things are dope.
Yeah, I made a specific one for my trip for myself. But make a little bit of everything, some chopper parts, jewelry, art, you name it, metalworking. Kind of getting into a little bit of everything. So, all good stuff.
Go check him out. Give him a follow at Stay Strong Co. and get yourself some the shit hot sauce. All right, so look, before we end this, I got 3 questions.
Let's do it.
Ryno can still do his Would You Rather at the end, but I just want to ask these real quick. Where was the best food you had on the entire trip?
Best food I had.
Like something where you like, God damn.
Man. That's a tough one. I'm like, honestly, this is definitely some California bro shit. I was at a coffee shop in Nashville, and I just got avocado toast. I wasn't even like craving, like my whole trip, I wasn't really craving anything in particular. And I didn't get that hungry just on the road. You're not really like, I lost 12 pounds on my road trip. But
oh shit.
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck. I met this pretty cool dude that might have been a crackhead, but still a pretty good dude. And I was just eating avocado toast, and it was fucking the best shit that I had.
No
One of the
shit.
best shit. There was definitely some other places, but off the top of my head, that one sticks out right now.
No shit.
Yeah, just simple, easy, good.
What was like the best moment on the trip? Like the one thing that just blew your mind that hands down you'll never fucking forget?
I mean, there's definitely, several things that I probably won't forget, but I would say I'll give you 2 just because it's hard. But when I was riding with, Charlie and just the guys that we were with, you had that like camaraderie that you just, you had that connection, which being so far from home, like finding that with some people that I've never ridden with before was like really special.
Yeah.
Especially coming through like riding roads I've never ridden before and just seeing like them showing me things that I've never, experienced before. That was really special. And I would say like, again, I talked about it before, but, just riding through parts of Washington and just seeing like the contrast of colors, there's places in that state that I was looking at, that's where Crayola got their colors from. Just the indigos and purples and like just the stupid stuff on the side of the road that just like caught your eye,
Right.
Yeah. I just think just the vividness of the road in like, I would say Washington and just places where I didn't expect it.
Right.
Those really stuck out to me.
Yeah. And then last one, where is one place that you went to that in your mind when you're there, you're like 100%, I will come back here?
Yeah, I would say Utah. I'd say Utah, definitely, just so many different landscapes in Utah.
Yeah.
So many different, whether you're coming through some of the mountains, you're going, some of the lower desert, just, going to the top of, there was like, just bodies of water that I'm like, why is this even here right now? I just, never even thought. You just roll up on stuff and you're like, holy shit, like this is here right now.
Yeah.
And just like, I kind of found myself just watching my shadow as the sun moved and I kept going up the mountains. And it just was like, like you felt like you're riding with somebody, like you're riding with yourself, which was really neat. I felt that way riding through Utah, and I would definitely go to Utah and like just check out more of the state. And again, there's a lot of other places that are beautiful, but that one definitely sticks out.
Yeah, that's sick. That's sick. So, like Ryno said, we definitely gonna get you back on to get the rest of the story.
There's so much more.
To get all of the updates of Stay Strong, because we know a lot of shit's coming up the pipeline. So we definitely get you on. We cannot wait like 6-8 months. Let's figure it out for like a month maybe.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Oh, maybe we'll get you on. We'll get you on. What month we're in right now? Let's get you on after you go to Creep Out, so that you can do an update on Creep Out, because we're going to Deadbeat. You do an update on Creep Out. We'll do an update on Deadbeat, and then we can talk about Stay Strong and the rest of this trip.
Yeah, cool. End of August then. Awesome.
Perfect.
Hell yeah.
All right, Ryno, what is your fucking stomach-turning, disgusting would you rather?
Well, I got two things. The first, it's not a question. The first thing is for the viewers. Just a little Easter egg in this episode. I peed 3 times. Okay. If you guys send me the timestamp of when I pissed into a can of Modelo, I will send you a sticker pack. All right, but you need all 3 times. You pissed
3 times?
I muted myself.
You did not piss 3 times.
Yo, that's amazing.
Usually I can hear you pissing.
Jesus Christ.
Wow, you even got me that time.
I learned from last time. Now, these are very sensitive microphones, so I pissed 3 times, so you're going to have to watch the whole video, and then you give me the timestamp. I'm going to send you a sticker pack for the first person that... I did piss a lot on myself, too. I did not do a good job. So my seat's wet, my pants are wet.
Did you try not to look down so they couldn't tell?
I was trying to be very...
from now on.
All right, so sticker pack for the first person that gives me all 3 timestamps of when I pissed while these guys were talking. And then finally, Jon-Luke. We have a would you rather. And this one's pretty gross.
Perfect.
I don't even want to say
They're all pretty gross. I don't even know what you're saying.
All right, you ready?
They're all
ready.
Fucked, dude.
You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Would you rather uncontrollably scream, "I love you, Mom," every time that you orgasm?
Oh my God.
Or watch your mom orgasm once to make it stop?
Where do you come up with this shit, dude?
I'm gonna have to go with the first one.
For the rest of your life, you're just gonna be like, "I love you, Mom."
Yeah.
We're gonna have to ask the fiance how she feels about that.
Yeah, because you know what? This thing, like, I won't ever have to have that. Like, it won't be burned into my eyes. But if I watch my mom orgasm, that's like,
I know, but every time you orgasm, you're gonna think of your mom. Because you're uncontrollably gonna be like, "I love you, Mom."
Yeah, but you don't do that now.
Dude, you uncontrollably scream, "I love you, Mom," every time you orgasm.
Look, that won't be weird for me. That won't be weird for me because I call my wife Mama.
Oh, there you go.
All right, so everybody's just gonna say, "I love you, Mom." This is the Mother's Day episode.
Yeah.
I guess I'd be I'm on the same boat. Yeah, I'd rather just do that and not ever see that.
Yeah. You don't need to know. I don't need to see that.
I don't want to see that.
Oh fuck!
All right.
Yeah, hell yeah, guys.
Yeah, great fucking episode. I can't wait to do part 2 and hear about the Creep Out, because I still have never been to the Creep Out.
Dude.
And if I wasn't like super involved with Deadbeat this year, I would definitely be trying to go to the Creep Out because I want it.
Yeah.
That's like a bucket list one for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Telling you, Milwaukee and the Creep Out. Creep Out's a little bit easier to go to, but
Yeah.
you got to do them. Creep Out's a blast, man.
Yeah. I always fuck up the Milwaukee show. And which one's Milwaukee? Mama Tried?
Yeah, Mama Tried. It's cold.
Yeah.
Just remember it's cold.
And what's the other one? The other big one. Mama
Other
Tried
big one?
and God, I did this last time on an episode and I always
you
sound like
did.
an asshole.
You did. I don't know, like
Fuck. Oh, Fuel Cleveland.
Fuel Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Yeah, that's the other one. Those are like the two I've
think-
been trying to get to and I just still haven't because I'm an asshole.
Mama Tried is in like March or some shit, right?
it's just usually December or February.
Yeah, December. It's like in the, it's in the
February,
winter.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fuel Cleveland that's coming up, isn't it? Or is that in like September time frame?
I don't know. And it's not even that fucking far, dude. Ohio, that's not even far, dude.
Yeah,
I think that's in July.
July. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was summer too, but
Yeah, both those shows look fucking phenomenal.
yeah, I've never been to that one, but I can say Mama Tried is definitely. I mean, you got Flat Out Friday and just like so
Yeah.
many things going on. You know, you can pop in and out of the show, check everything out. So
Right.
it's just a good time. Meet a lot of cool people.
Yeah.
See
And the
Chicken
Harley
Rick.
Davidson Museum is right there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's
That would be cool to see.
I've only been there once because I feel like going there every year probably would get overload
Yeah.
the same shit. But like, it's definitely really cool to see all that.
Yeah.
They do a pretty good job there.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Fuck. All right. Well,
All right,
let me
cool.
see if I can make that work.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Well, great fucking
All right.
show. It was good to see you, man.
Hell
It's
yeah.
been way too
Yeah,
fucking
you
long.
too.
Hopefully
I
we
know,
can
hopefully
link
we
up
can-
at some point this summer.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, we got to talk offline about that. Maybe go
Yeah.
for a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, hang on with us. We're gonna end this episode, but I want to talk to you after this.
Sounds good.
Parting words.
Dude, don't let shit pass you by. If you can do it, do it. Even if you can't, make it happen.
Hell yeah,
Fucking
brother.
love it.
All right. Enjoy your Friday, you motherfuckers.